Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another Big Finish fans. Today, we're diving into the Early Adventures tier list to celebrate Series 7 of the Early Adventures. And I think that you probably didn't think we were doing a live stream this week, but here we are. Bit of a surprise, and even a surprise to us, but here we are. Once again, I'm joined with Luke.
Hello. Yes, it is a bit of a surprise. 2 days late and 2 hours late almost as well on the timing, but what can you do?
It's classic us. It's classic us.
Yeah.
So while we wait for a few people to join before we dive into the news and the tier list, what have you been up to, Luke? What have you been doing?
I am currently on holiday, which is why we couldn't do Friday or Saturday, but got some free time now to sit around and chat about Big Finish. And long drives to holidays are ideal times to sit down and listen. So
It's been a good week for you, actually, for holiday travel because of all these stories. Yeah, been a good week for that.
Yeah, so I have managed to get through both the early adventures in time for this, and then Philip Hinchcliffe I'm yet to start. That'll probably be sometime in the week, really. So, yeah, how about yourself?
I've dived into this. I've started watching this.
Oh yes, forgot about
Yeah. It's. I can see why you forgot about it.
that.
I watched. I mean, I don't really want to say much about the animation because we'll do a tier list, but yeah, it ain't the one, Chief. But yeah, I've enjoyed watching the special features on it. That's been a joy.
The
and that got
HD quality of the story as well, especially some of the early film shots in part one.
yeah with
brilliant.
Is it Giuliano? I can't remember.
Yeah, I think that's how.
Yeah, good. That whole sequence is great.
I think Julius, isn't it? Julius.
Yeah, Julius, that's it. Yeah, I'm thinking of somebody from Mask of Mandragora. Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Giuliano. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was good to have that in HD. And our earliest Blu-ray, is it? Yeah.
Yeah, it would be. Because, what is it? Faceless Ones, while that is on Blu-ray, I don't think that's been upscaled at all or anything. Like, apparently that's still the same quality as it was on Lost in Time.
Jeez.
Which means hopefully they don't do the same with Evil. Hopefully that gets a boost, but I can see that being the same, to be honest.
Yeah, I think because they've focused on animating the whole thing, they're like, it's all right. Yeah. We just leave it. We just bung it on for the purists so they can have the full thing there.
Yeah, like most of the releases at the moment, unless it's collection, is just for the animation, isn't it? And then you get the existing episodes as a bonus. Whereas with this, the existing episodes are the main meat of it. That's why we're allowed to have a beautiful cover that's not animated for a change.
I will say that cover, I'm normally one for the steelbooks. Like the steelbooks normally trump the normal animated covers, but I have to say the normal Web of Fear DVD, special edition, beats the steelbook for me.
Yeah. I think what works about the steelbooks on the other ones as well is that it's not just the same animation. It's not like the animated style arranged into an awkward cover, is it? It's like its own piece of art.
Yeah, it normally sort of centers around like the TARDIS and then like the shadow of a monster or whatever, or the Evil of the Daleks one. It's the Emperor and the Daleks, which is cool. I do like that steelbook cover.
Yeah, only a month to wait for that now, isn't it? Or a month and a week.
I mean, it might be released early. Some people might get it early. I know some people got the Web of Fear one quite early, but I ordered it from Amazon because it's just convenient for me at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I ordered it from Amazon and I got it the Friday. I think that's probably why I forgot about it, because I would have got that the same day we did the previous live stream, but I just hadn't dived into it then. So
see, mine, your season 24 got a bit lost.
Yeah.
That happened with my steelbook. So I was like, I think it was dispatched Friday. So I was thinking, it'll be here Saturday. But somehow it magically got lost. And then it arrived Monday. I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah. I think I saw some people kicking up a fuss about that as well, about some getting theirs early and some not over on Twitter.
It's always been that thing with like the Blu-ray box sets. Yeah, it's good to get it early, but it doesn't really make a difference. You're still going to be enjoying it just a few days later, especially with the Blu-ray box sets where they get delayed. So it really doesn't make a difference if you're waiting an extra day or 2 days for it.
Yeah, I think if you're getting it on time, like when you order it for, there shouldn't really be any trouble. If you're getting it earlier, that's just a bonus.
You shouldn't really complain if you are getting it on the day of release because you're getting it when it's supposed to be released. If you get it early, that's a nice little bonus that you can enjoy. But
I think that's what I saw people complaining about, saying, "Oh, why are other people getting it early?"
Which is it's not a privilege. It's just they've just managed to get them out early.
Yeah, it's just luck, really, isn't it?
Yeah, because I've been lucky with a few like the collection box sets because I ordered from Zoom because it was a great thing. I don't know if Zoom do the collection box sets now anyway. Mind you, we don't know if they do them now because we haven't had an announcement.
Yeah, that's true.
But I think Zavvi has started to get them out early now.
Yeah.
Or HMV, I don't know. One of them.
Yeah, certainly for me, I've always got them on the day. The only one I didn't was season 24. That one I had to wait a couple of days for. So it was a nice surprise when Web of Fear turned up early for a change.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good little release. Glad to have it. I'm sure we'll get it in a few years' time on the collection box set.
Yeah, maybe.
At some point.
Yeah, season 5 is quite close to completion, isn't it now?
Yeah, Wheel in Space, is it now?
Yeah, and Boggle Snowmen, which is already...
That's been confirmed.
Yeah, pretty much confirmed.
So that's all right then.
Yeah. But should we go on to things which are 100% confirmed with the news?
Yeah, what a good segue. I'll leave the old screen share up. So the first bit of news is always exciting. It is good old Christopher Eccleston. We've got the Volume 3 artwork, and it's called Lost Warriors, which fits the Ninth Doctor because he's, the last of the Time Lords and he's a warrior from the Time War. So it's going to be a nice thematic box set. So we've got the great new Cyberman design, which we're not going to talk about tonight. We'll talk about that in a future tier list.
Yeah, I'm going to be going through the Cybermen, which is another one of your guys' suggestions. I can't remember who, I'm afraid. I feel bad, but yeah, someone suggested doing both Daleks and Cybermen. We've done the Daleks now, and yeah, moving on to the Cybermen sometime soon. We'll see what. But I'm glad they waited with this news, though. Like, I think we were all expecting it the day after Respond to All Calls, weren't we?
Yeah, I normally do that of like Dalek Universe or Out of Time. We got the news straight after, didn't we? Really?
Yeah, but I think it allowed specifically with Respond to All Calls and the start of that box set. I think it was good that got to sink in a bit more rather than
it was allowed to breathe, wasn't it?
Shadow. Yeah.
But I think with Ravagers, it was that hype train. They were like, by the way, guys, there's more Ninth Doctor coming. Pre-order it now. I think it's kind of sunk in that Eccleston. I mean, not that it's ever going to sink in that Christopher Eccleston's on Big Finish, but you know what I mean? There's kind of not a lull point, but we're at a content point that, Eccleston's there. We've got another 2 box sets. So we can wait for the news.
Yeah, that's true.
In terms of stories, we've got The Hunting Season by James Kettle, which should be exciting because it's by the person who wrote The Blazing Hour, one of our favorite releases of the year so far. So already I'm really excited about this. And the creatures on the cover actually remind me, well, I guess they link into Hunting Season, I guess.
Yeah, because you've got like the character on the right next to the Doctor looks like they'd be from the Lady Macbeth story. So.
And I just sort of gives me Hunting Ground vibes, just having that title and then looking at that creature. It does look very similar to like the Hunting Ground.
Yeah, much better cover though.
Oh yeah. I think that's a good story in its own right, but I see what you mean.
Never judge a story by its cover. But yeah, that's not a great cover, but it is a great story.
And then we have The Curse of Lady Macbeth by Lizzie Hopley. Who's really doing well for herself, really, in terms of writing. She's really getting the big guns, like the 10th Doctor and, Christopher Eccleston, I think. Oh, no, she hasn't done The War Doctor Begins yet, has she?
No.
Or was she doing Warbringer? I can't remember off the top of my head.
I mean, you could have a quick click on her name, see what... I think she's doing one of the 11 box sets.
Oh, yeah, she's doing the middle story. I'm just going to have a little load up here. So
yeah.
She's doing War Master, 10th Doctor Classic Companions, Paladin.
Yeah. I think she might be doing the Tennant story in the War Master as well.
Oh, yes, she is, yeah. Oh, and she did our favourite story in 10th Doctor and River Song.
Yeah, Precious Annihilation.
And then, she did the the Shadow of the Daleks to the Castle one. Okay.
Yeah. Unfortunately, not
go.
one of our favourites from that set either.
Yeah, but never mind. Hopefully, this will be a good one.
I mean, Big Finish.
I mean, I did enjoy.
Faith in her, so
I did enjoy the Time Lord Victoria story she did, though. I will say that.
Was that the first one of the Eighth Doctor?
I think it might have been the first one actually.
One with the Ood going up.
Or was I can't remember because it was all female writers for that trilogy. I'm gonna have to click on her name again just to make sure, but I feel like it's the middle one from memory. It shows how good my memory is.
No, not Mutually Assured Destruction.
Oh no, it's the last one. The last one.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was right with Mutually Assured Destruction. I was just wrong with it being the second one.
We got there at the end. But yeah, and then the last story is the Monster in Metropolis by John Dorney, which is obviously the Sideman story. Very exciting.
Yeah, I mean, we sort of knew. We just didn't know the title for that one, did we? Like, we knew the basic synopsis and that it was written by John Dorney and that it was going to have Cybermen, but we didn't know the title really.
And Fritz Lang as well. Yeah, it's sort of a historical in that way.
Yeah, I mean, they're all historicals in this set, which I'm quite excited for. I feel like the Ninth Doctor does fit that quite well.
Yeah, there's something quite timeless about the Ninth Doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that working.
Yeah, I think especially the time of year it's coming out as well, like November. I can see it being like quite a spooky, almost Halloween-y box set, really.
I mean, speaking of Halloween, we do have the cover for the Third Doctor Adventures Volume 8, which is very exciting. And again, that's being released in October, and again has quite a Halloween story in the form of the Devil's Hoofprints. What do you make of the cover? Because this is a sort of a new style for the box set.
Yeah, I quite like it, to be fair. I think it's kind of a shame to think that they couldn't close it out in the same style, but I do really like what this cover is going on.
It feels like a box set cover. Like, I love the cover.
Yeah.
But it feels like a slipcase cover, and then if you open the box set, you'll have the artwork for Conspiracy in Space and all that. But I do like it. You got Planet of Spiders, Sarah, and
I think that is a great picture of Sarah as well, and the Brigadier.
It's all very good. And then Joe from the Sea Devils, all wonderful stuff. Seen a few people complain about them using one of the Draconian prints from the story, and saying it's a mismarketing. It's a Draconian. It's fine.
Yeah, it sort of did take me out. That was something I was going to mention. It's not really a big complaint, but I think just because of how good that makeup is and how much of the person it shows, it is very recognizable in that sense. Like, you instantly know who the character is, even though it's not a character. It's just meant to be a normal Draconian.
I'm surprised they didn't do like a new render for the female Draconian. I think the main villain of the story.
Yeah, Lady Zin, isn't it? They've mentioned.
Yeah, I thought they could have. I mean, they've done a female Draconian on paper cuts for Sixth Doctor and Charlie's story, so it's not unheard of them to do it.
Yeah, I'm not too fussed about it though. It's just a little detail.
Good cover.
I love the ship at the bottom there as well. I do feel like the left side of the cover feels a bit empty. Like, you've got the hoof prints there, but I don't. Yeah, I feel like maybe you could have had a TARDIS or Bessie like next to the Doctor to fill it out a bit more.
Yeah, you've really got to look at the left side to get details from the story. Where I guess the right side, you know what you're getting. You've got the Earth, a Draconian ship, and good old Draconian there.
Yeah. Final bit of news,
which is the Martha Jones cover. No surprise of John Sim being announced, or I mean, there could still be a David Tennant cameo for all we know.
I do like Squeeze but
yeah, I mean, it's very reminiscent of the Russell T Davies covers. I do like it. What do you make of the cover?
I'm not sure about the font for like the logo of it, as it were.
I mean, I will give them this, but they have given it an original logo, unlike some of the spin-offs they've done.
Yeah, I'm grateful for that. I'm just not sure about it as it is, but well, what can you do?
I mean, it would have been quite nice if they like textured it with like the Toclophane pattern.
Oh, that'd be a good idea.
That would have been quite nice.
Yeah, maybe that just wouldn't quite work, like color wise. It'd be a bit too. It wouldn't stand out enough.
Well, maybe.
Yeah, like especially against Martha in her black jacket there. I could see maybe that just not quite popping as much, but yeah.
So that's out in December. So we've still got a little bit of a wait for that box set. So it'd be quite interesting to listen to that.
I'm still sort of on the fence about that one, but yeah. How about you?
I'm pretty. I feel like I'll get it because it's out in December. So I'm like, oh, just bung it on the Christmas list. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's all right. But yeah, I feel like it's going to be one of those event box sets what everyone's going to talk about, and I feel like FOMO will kick in. Oh, check it out. But if it's a one-off box set, great. But it'd be interesting to see where that box set ends, really.
Yeah, I think that's sort of one of the mysteries at the moment, is it? Because it does have the one next to it, and also the stories are 1.1, 1.2, and 1.3, which sort of indicates that maybe a second set is possible.
Was it the same with like Dimension Canon as well?
Might be.
Oh yeah, you didn't get that. I thought you did get it.
Yeah, I think certainly not on the website, but it might be on the physical copy.
I can't check the physical copy because it's in another room. But yeah.
Worlds of Doctor Who special releases.
While you have a look at that, should we quickly look at the chat before we do the tier list?
Yeah, let's go for it.
So we've got a question from Benjamin James Miller. Who do you think should play the Rani in the revival era of Doctor Who if they were ever to bring her back? For me, it's got to go for Kate McGrath. I've never heard of Kate McGrath. I'm very sorry.
She was in Merlin.
Oh, right. Did she play? Is it Morgana? I can't remember.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, now I know. All right.
I think she'd be a decent fit, to be fair.
So I would say Gemma Whelan, because I just really enjoy seeing Gemma Whelan stuff, actually.
Yeah. Monk and Rani.
Monk and Rani. Yeah, why not? But I don't know who I'd like to see as the Monk. Oh, no, tell a lie. Matt Berry. Matt Berry is the Monk I'd be down for.
Wasn't that someone they were...
sorry. That's a Monk. I'm on the wrong person, the Rani. But yeah, I'd like to see Matt Berry as the Monk.
Yeah. Wasn't that like someone they were considering what's a Mark Gatiss script?
I think it was, Peter Harness.
Oh,
the Zygon two-part. It was between the Mara, a Monk story, and Zygons. And I think Zygons obviously won.
What was it? Or would that have been for Series 10? Because he did Oxygen, didn't he?
I think it was for Series 9, because it was when they were doing the lockdown specials.
Ah, yeah, that adds up. Yeah. Okay, that would have been a weird alternate dimension.
I mean, I want to experience it. Because I love Matt Berry and What We Do in the Shadows. That's a good little show.
Yeah.
But yeah. I've got a stylish one. Hello, stylish one.
Hello.
Tom Mason. Hi, I'm wondering if you want to be a guest on the first episode of my Doctor Who panel show. Time Lords, if you want, I'll send you a link. I think we'd be interested in it. I mean, we come as a pair.
We're inseparable now.
So yeah, we'll
quite how many fallouts.
Yeah, we'll probably have a fallout towards the when we do the tier list, probably.
Yeah.
But yeah, that'd be fun. Yeah.
That's probably something more for like.
Oh, sorry. Go on.
And yeah, YouTube does have like DMs and stuff, doesn't it? Direct messages.
I think they've got rid of the DMs on YouTube.
Oh, man. That's better. Can always get in contact with you on Twitter, though.
Yeah, Twitter is probably your best bet of getting hold of us, really.
Yeah, that's like more the place to arrange it than a live stream chat.
Sounds
like fun.
Yeah, it'd be good to have a chat about old Doctor Who. Favorite Ravenous box set cover? I think it's got to be Ravenous 2 for me. I just like maybe because it's a good box set, and I just like the Ravenous in like the shadow, and then you've got the Krampus. I like that cover art.
Yeah, I'm just thinking because like 3 and 4, they sort of become more bland characters in standing in the line, don't they?
Yeah. Especially with Volume 4, because you've got all the Masters and the TARDIS crew and like the 11. So yeah, it comes a bit clustered. But I do like the inclusion of like the 12th Doctor title sequence in it. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I do. I like the color choice of 3 as well. They're all quite good covers. But I think they're all fairly similar levels, really.
Oh, this is a good one for you, Luke, because you love River Song.
Oh,
Worst individual story from the whole of the Diary of a Song range.
I don't know.
I wouldn't say it's bad, but I'd say the second story from Series 8 of River, maybe.
Yeah, I suppose that one is more like the recency thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
We can remember that more, so we're less fond of it.
Because I haven't listened to Series 1. I haven't got Series 2. Series 3 is a delight.
Yeah.
And then
Series 4, I can't remember much of. I think I enjoyed it overall, but...
And then Series 5, you've got the Masters.
Yeah, I mean, we ranked the War Master one quite low, didn't we? But I'm not sure if I'd say that's my least favourite overall.
I'd have to revisit it to be sure if it is low. Yeah.
I think...
What about Peep Show? Yeah, I was going to say, you're not a fan of Peep Show.
I mean, it's a fun little story. There's just one line that made me throw up in my mouth a little, so...
All right, maybe that's your least favorite one then.
It's my least favorite moment of the range, I guess. But,
okay.
Have you listened to it? Do you know the moment I'm on about?
I've listened to it, but I can't really. Oh yeah, I think I know.
Yeah, toenails. Right.
Oh yeah, I was gonna swear that. I was like,
yeah. That's all the details.
Say no more. Say no more.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh gosh, that's what you need on a Sunday night. Yeah. Right. Okay. Let's move on. That's River Song.
Yeah. There you go.
How dare they in the Web of Fear documentary kill Fraser Hines? I know. Fun little Easter egg though. Fun little way to end the documentary.
I mean, at least he didn't get zapped on the third rail.
I kind of expected them to have like somebody in like the Yeti costume in it, to be honest. Like get John Levine back in the Yeti costume. That would have been quite cool.
Yeah.
Like what they did with David Banks on Earthshock, because they got him back in like that.
Yeah. The way they squeezed in like the recolorized Yeti into the shot though. Like that. I mean, it's better than it looks in the animation.
I mean, I'd take that because at least the Yeti had texture.
Yeah.
Because I think the problem with, I mean, we're going on to the animation, but the problem with the Yeti in the Web of Fear one, because it's not like a 3D cell animation like the Daleks or like, you know, the stuff that really stands out in the animation, like the planes and the Macra. Like they're a different like 3D shades cell animation. So I think if the Yeti was done in that, it would be a bit better because the texture just looks so flat on the Yeti.
Yeah.
And that's in black and white. I watched it. As you should, I guess.
Yeah, I've watched both versions. It definitely works a lot better in black and white, but even then, some shots do stand out quite a bit.
Yeah. Stephen writes, talking about delays, I'm still currently waiting for my Dalek Universe 2 and War Doctor Begins, but I had them both sent out. A new copy of Dalek Universe 2 sent out. Is that the CD? I assume War Doctor Begins is CD. I mean, you haven't got Dalek Universe the vinyl yet too.
No, that's no sign of that yet.
It's weird because I had a dispatch for Respond to All Calls, but I've had no dispatch for War Master. Yeah, that was out before. So it's weird how they're prioritizing certain releases.
Oh, really? Is your Respond to All Calls the CD or vinyl?
Yeah, the CD. Yeah. So that'll probably arrive tomorrow. Yeah.
Yes.
But hopefully they arrive to you, Stephen. Hope they do.
Yeah.
I hope with the Ninth Doctor Adventures Volume 3, we have it in a format we already have with 3 individual story covers, but they haven't shown the individual covers for 3 stories. Yeah, that'll probably be when they announce like the vinyl cover, wasn't it? When they do the pack shot of the vinyl. So I guess we get the individual covers then, like they did with Respond to All Calls.
Yeah, they do usually drip feed out a bit more, just so that, you know, they can keep making splashes and keep reminding us it's coming rather than putting all the news out at once.
Yeah, it's sort of like what they did with River Series 9. They sort of drip thread the information of that box set, really.
Yeah. And now we're at the point with Volume 8 where they're drip feeding that because we got the cover but no trailer yet. So
I'm sure we'll get a trailer tomorrow of probably a Fifth Doctor.
Yeah, I don't think they usually drop trailers on Mondays. Monday's usually like the bigger news day, isn't it? So
Yeah, true.
I could see that being a cover of some kind.
Maybe we'll just have to see. I'm sure we'll cover it in next week's stream.
Yeah, definitely.
Benjamin James Miller, how dark did Doctors 9 to 13 go during their tenures? 9, I wouldn't say was dark because it was very much him moving away from the darkness, I'd say.
Yeah, I think it has dark moments, but I'd say 11 is probably... It's often forgotten, isn't it, how dark 11 is at times.
I would say 11's probably more of a darker Doctor than McCoy. I would say, personally. That might be a bit of a hot take, but...
On TV, yeah, I'd say so.
But then 10 has some dark moments, like killing the Rachnos.
Yeah.
Like, that's a pretty dark moment.
10's dark moments tend to be more spur of the moment things, though, don't they?
Yeah, I guess that is true. But yeah, I'd say for me, 11's the darkest of the bunch.
Yeah. Which is funny because they had that whole thing with the 12th Doctor, am I a good man? And sort of focused on that a bit, but really.
But then you don't see like Matt Smith going to Colonel Runaway going, haha, I'm a good man. I have a bow tie, so bugger you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I'd say Matt Smith, darker Doctor. Yeah. I mean, though 12 did, I still stand by it. He pushed for the Clockwork half-face man out of the balloon.
I need to go back and rewatch. I've been in the mood to do more Peter Capaldi, actually. I think it's partly because of Suicide Squad. Like he's in that, and that's been pushed quite a bit. So I'm sort of in the mood for more Peter.
I've been in the mood for like Series 8 and sort of the Monk trilogy because I remember loving the Monk stuff in like Empress of Mars. I've been in the mood for that.
Yeah.
Because I've been flicking through like old Doctor Who magazines. And I was like, oh, I remember just being so excited for Series 8. So I'm like, oh, I'd like to have a go for that again. But yeah, maybe we can do Series 8. Maybe we can do like a little video ranking Series 8. Maybe that'll be a fun thing. Jude H, I have to say, I'm not a massive fan of the new Third Doctor cover. Yeah, it's a bit of a new style, isn't it? It's a bit of a different one, but I'm sure it will look great as a physical product. I'm sure it will.
Yeah, I think it's just a shame you can't have it as a slipcover, isn't it?
Yeah, it looks more like a slipcover, but artwork for me personally.
Yeah.
Love the new Ninth Doctor cover. I think we all do.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Hello. Is it I can't pronounce that. Enigmatic Joker. I'm going to cock up here.
Enigmatic Joker.
Enigmatic. There we go. That's right. I'm getting a bit tongue-tied.
That's hello. Good. Happens to us all.
I'm first time here on the channel. Welcome to the channel. We do streams practically every week, so welcome to the lovely community here. Harry Williams, thoughts on the Dalek occupation of winter? I love it. I'm sure we'll talk about it more in detail later on in stream because we're doing the early adventure tier list, but it's blooming good. It's one of the good.
Yeah, I really like it.
I don't want to say good early adventures, but it's one of the top tier ones for me.
Yeah,
I don't think that's a spoiler.
No, I remember not enjoying it as much on my first listen because it was like overhyped a bit for me at the time. But then going back on second re-listen, I feel like I felt a lot more. I gave it a lot more of a fair shot and enjoyed it a lot more. So.
Have you seen the animated Yeti and the reconstruction of the new release? Yeah, we have.
That's it. Yeti's probably the weakest part of it.
Which normally, the best thing is like the monsters and the animations.
Yeah, it's bizarre. I think that's part of why I'm not too bothered about the possibility of Galaxy 4 being that animation style.
Well, that animation, there's like that little feature on the animation where they did like a test of like Dalek's master plan, didn't they? I was like, oh no, don't you dare touch that. Like, I don't want to sound ungrateful, but I'd rather not have it if it's going to be bad for you.
I'd also rather not have it in like the Fury from the Deep style, though. I do prefer. I mean, controversy and bit of spoiler for tier list possibly, but I do prefer what they've done with Web of Fear to Fury from the Deep. Although this has the advantage of only being one episode.
I think my problem with Fury is that it's such a claustrophobic story, and then the sets are just massive, so you lose that immersion of like the claustrophobia.
Like you look at the telesnaps and you see a lot of the sets are quite cleverly designed with like these multiple levels in this confined space.
I think I've got it here.
To give you these more, they give you like these more dynamic shots, but then the animation it is all just very
it's all pretty
open spaces with characters all in a line. So I wonder what it would have been like if they'd done like that web style with Fury. Like giving us a bit more of a claustrophobic feel. I don't know. They both have their ups and downs.
If it was released 2013, I think we probably could have got a very authentic Fury from the Deep.
Yeah. But I think that's the shame, isn't it? Because they have sort of drifted away from authenticity a bit just to make it feel bigger and sell more. Sometimes it works with things like Macra.
Yeah.
But not always.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I feel like we're drifted into the animation tier list. So I feel like we're sort of spoiling our thoughts on like the recent animations. But I'm sure we'll get onto that in like October. I guess we'll do that.
Yeah.
Stephen Wright. Yeah, I'm waiting for Dalek Unis 2 and War Doctor CDs. They were both dispatched at the end of July. Still have not received them. Anything yet? They had to send me out a new copy. That's terrible. That is shocking. I guess the pandemic. It's not really helping the warehouse because we were waiting ages for the Ravagers vinyl. But yeah, it's a bit crazy how certain releases are being prioritized over others. Do you guys think the Third Doctor releases for 2022 they're going to continue the Third Doctor Adventures, or they're going to go to a name differently and also do different CD format? I think they're going to have like their own little subtitle, isn't it? They've always
So if they were going to continue with like volume 9 and 10, they would have announced that, like with Fourth Doctor, how that series 11 still following on in the same style, isn't it?
Yeah.
Whereas this, we've now got a slipcover at least, but we're down to 3 discs. So
I mean, that could allow for like 6-parters, like you say, they're changing the format, which will be very authentic to the Pertwee stuff.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully news won't be too far away on that because the first set is February 2022. That's one of the earlier ones. So, so Third Doctor's on a roll at the moment.
Absolutely. Him and the Fifth Doctor are keeping Big Finish alive, I think, really, with like the story consistency, especially after like Volume 7. I'm like, this is good stuff.
Yeah. Plus, we also got Scourge of the Cybermen this year as well, and we're getting the River Song Series 9 in addition to that. So it's all very good time to be a Third Doctor fan, like we've said.
Yeah, very good time. Furious Time Lord Cyberman Adventures. He's arrived. Hi Ben, remember me from the last live? Yeah, we're not going to bed just yet. But we're here. I think that is all the chat. So should we dive onto the old tier list? Oh, hello. Oh, we've got a comment from Cameron Thomas. Excited to see where things go after the golf cameo. Yes. Is it going to be like a Terror of the Auton situation and the golf is like Spearhead from space? That would be lovely.
Isn't that
oh no, the golf. Sorry,
I'm
thinking the wrong story. So it's the golf.
What was the golf? Yeah.
Unless
did you mean Unzal Cameron, or are we forgetting a cameo in the golf?
I mean, it did reference. Like I Am the Doctor, which is good.
Yeah, that's true.
And Stolen Earth, but the TARDIS can tow a planet.
Cool. You've seen Stylish One's hot take there.
Hot take, the ISOS network is better in every way to the Invasion. Okay. We're already starting with the hot takes. This is great.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the ISOS network, but I wouldn't say it's better than the Invasion.
No.
But hey, we respect opinions here.
I think should we pivot on to the tier list now?
Yeah, let you do the introduction and I'll load it up.
So first we have 24 releases. This is a chunky one, so hopefully we're not going to be here too late. for I've forgotten his name now. I'm very sorry. The Furious Time Lord Cyberman Adventures. We hopefully won't be here too late for you, but here we go. We have 6 tiers this time to put our 24 stories into. We've got, would you look at the quality of that one, Doctor? Obvious misquote there from Jamie.
Yes, Jamie, it is a big one.
Yeah, that's truly remarkable. Something that the first Doctor has said at least once. So, I mean, it counts. Great jumping gobstoppers, a classic second Doctor line. Which is probably William Hartnell's most common line. Oh my giddy aunt, of course, second Doctor again, and then a little tribute to one of William Hartnell's most famous fluffs. Deserves to be a burnt cinder in Spain in space. Okay, so yeah, but where will these all fall? I think. Because I mean, generally, I think we're both very positive about this range. It is such a cozy one to dive into anytime, especially like in the winter as the nights are getting dark early.
Yeah,
it's great to just dive into one of these.
I mean, for me, I feel like the early adventures is such an underrated range.
Yeah, it really is.
I don't feel like it gets the love it deserves. So hopefully this stream will spread awareness of how good this range is, because it's a delight. And like Luke said, the early adventures, I think watching 60s Doctor Who as well, watching black and white TV in the winter, it's just perfect. And this is very much the same for that with Big Finish, really.
Yeah, it's often very authentic, isn't it? I feel like when they don't have the original Doctor there, they try even harder with the authenticity, and so that very much comes across in ranges like the third Doctor, but also in the early adventures. And I appreciate the animation here. It didn't work in third Doctor Adventures, but here they nail it so well, and it'd be a shame to lose that style.
I mean, just talking about the narration, I feel like the narration makes it feel like a missing episode soundtrack.
Yeah.
So if you're familiar with like the missing episode soundtracks, like Fraser Hines doing like the linking narration, that's very much the format for the early adventures. In that way.
Yeah, a lot of the time they do help set the scene a lot more.
Yeah, definitely.
Shall we begin with Domain of the Vords?
Rather fittingly, we've got Vord figures, and yeah, we've got a good old Big Finish story with the Vord with the first Doctor. So I listened to this one, I think last week actually, just because of getting the Vord figures. I was like, I'm on a bit of a Vord hype. Let's have a bit of Vord action, and this is a great way of expanding of the Vord with like the idea of the harvest. That's really cool.
Yeah.
And it's a good continuation from the Keys of Marinus because you get mentioned to the Yartek expedition, which I think was like 100 years prior to the Domain of the Vord on, is it Hydra, is it?
Yeah, it sort of very much takes, similar to how the Dalek invasion of Earth took what was very much a threat confined to one story, but found a way to explain how they can be on other worlds and stuff, and sort of expand. I mean, even more so here, they very much focusing more on that. And really, the Vord are quite a blank slate, aren't they? Because they were only in the first and last episode of Keys. Not much was known about them, and so we really get to dive into them a lot more here. And there's some dark stuff in this story.
What I would say about the Vord is, I think the Keys of Marinus treats them as very comic villains, really.
Yeah, and I think that scream when he falls down the pit and such.
Yeah, when Ian throws him out the window and he falls into the sea of acid. I think that this makes the Vord a credible threat, and just how much power they have, and explores them as a species, that they're sort of telepathic. And you've got the main Vord, Tarlak, who's like this massive Vord. Yeah, it's all good. It's all good stuff.
Yeah. It's interesting. Early on as well, these stories very much were more like they weren't quite sold on the recasting yet, weren't they? And so
this was 2014, wasn't it?
Yeah, so the Doctor and Barbara sit the middle 2 episodes out, and they're pretending as if Jacqueline Hill and William Hart are on holiday, aren't they?
Which I find okay, because they did it in like The Outliers as well, I think, from memory.
Yeah, I think it was episode 3 they did that in there. But yeah, it's all like something that they relied upon much more early on, and you can tell as it goes along they drift away from that. I think they also did it in the Yes Men with Ben.
Yeah, that would make sense, because obviously they weren't sure how people would take to the recast. So I'd say yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, I think also when they wrote that one, it was just going to be Fraser reading in. We're sort of skipping ahead a bit there, but yeah, I was just thinking,
skipping all the series.
Yeah, I mean that's sort of funny tying into later with After the Daleks, how that's just Susan on her own. We sort of already used that a bit here with just Ian and Susan for the majority of this story. It really is them as the backbone of it.
Really is, especially when you get to sort of the end of, I think, is it part 2's cliffhanger, where they're in the TARDIS and they're about to leave. It's really, really good stuff. Really good stuff. And I love how the story opens with like a flotilla of warships on like the ocean, and like the world building Andrew Smith does with like the actual land. Like there's only like one bit of land, and the rest is like an ocean world, which fits the Vord well, because they're quite they're basically wearing like rubber diving suits, so they fit that well, quite well actually.
Yeah.
And Ian gets some good action moments, when he's tackling the Vord prisoner they have within the story, with him like grabbing onto like their little submarine. It's all really good, like action sequences as well. It's all good stuff.
I think the music's sweet as well for this one. It's very good. It's very 60s, but with a bit more oomph.
There's a lot of trumpet in there.
Yeah.
Put that on a t-shirt. Yeah, I think it's safe to say we like this one.
Yeah, I think it's very much made me want more Vords.
I mean, it's not made you listen to Beachhead again.
No, that's true. I mean, I got this one when it was on sale towards end of last year, start of this year. I think it was probably one of the lockdown sales they did, one of the many variations of it. And so, yeah, I remember listening to that like early January, and yeah, really did take to it.
One thing to know about Domain of the Vord, it's currently on offer for the book. Is it book month where they do?
Yeah, that's sort of the thing they do to sort of advertise what's coming out in the month, isn't it? Like they usually tie the book club thing to a release that's coming out in the same month. With this, they've obviously tied it to the latest early adventures.
So I think you can get this for like £2.99. So definitely get on that. It's a good story.
It is only the download. I think is it even still in stock, the physical?
I know that they are trying to They are trying to make them out of print. So if they are, get on it. Because it's a good series.
I think that one is out of print.
Blimey! So if you haven't got a CD copy of Domain of the Vord, then get it before the eBay prices go up. So where are we going to put it on the tier list? I feel very strongly to put it in. Would you look at the quality of that, Doctor?
I'm leaning slightly more towards it being truly remarkable.
Okay, all right. Well, I'll agree with that.
Yeah, I think it's very, very strong, but I feel like this range has much stronger to come.
Yeah, yeah. Looking at the list now, I see your point. Yeah, maybe that's just me just being gushing over it. I've just listened to it. Yeah. Next up, we have The Doctor's Tale, which fits what we said earlier about it being like a great winter listen. And I listened to this in January 2015, so my memory might be a bit hazy, because this is the thing with these tier lists. We haven't listened to all of these stories in preparation because we don't have time for that. But yeah, this is just getting off our gut reaction to the stories and what we remember. And The Doctor's Tale is that sort of quintessential winter's listen. It's a great little pure historical by Mark Platt, and it's a story what really plays with Ian, sort of links to the Crusade. and I think Mark Platt really gets sort of the jovial, sort of quirky Roman side of Hartnell's Doctor, what you see
that's good.
within the story. So it's nice that he's not the crotchety, grumpy old man. And there's a lot of light and humour within there. And I think that I feel like it's got something to do with Magna Carta or something around that time from memory.
Yeah, I think it's.
But yeah, I think I'll put it in Great Jumping God Stopper. I think it's a good one.
No. Would you say it has similar vibes to Hollow Crown? Because for anyone watching, by the way, I've not listened to Doctor's Tale, Bounty of Ceres, An Ordinary Life, Age of Endurance, or Fifth Traveller. So it's just going to be Ben's opinion ranking those ones. But
makes my life easy.
Yeah, he gets to put them where he wants. But yeah, would you say it has similar vibes to Hollow Crown, the recent First Doctor?
I would say it's on the same level from memory. I think that they really go all out with the authentic sound design with it, and I think that Mark Platt does well at historicals. Like I listened to, I think it's The Flame of Cadiz, which again is a great pure historical First Doctor adventure. So it's again a great script.
Yeah, is that 4 parts as well?
Yeah, it's one of the rare 4-part companion chronicles. So it's a good one.
Yeah, that's probably one of the ones that's closer to an early adventure, isn't it?
I guess it was sort of a prototype for the early adventure, because I think you've got The Suffering, the Anachronauts, and I think Flame of Cadiz. I think that's from memory. There might be another one, but
I think Luna Romana is also 4 parts.
Yeah, that's another one. Bounty of Ceres, I remember being my second favorite. It's a good little claustrophobic one, and is a good sort of space adventure, space opera story, and really sort of pushes the range into new levels with making it not feel as authentic to 60s Who, but makes it have that sort of modern spin to it, if you know what I mean.
I see.
And then An Ordinary Life, it's a Doctor Light adventure, so naturally kind of makes me go off it, but I think it's good to see more Sarah Kingdom.
You say that. Domain of the Void is a very Doctor Light adventure.
Yeah, but the Void are good. Yeah, but Hartnell has
I know
big
what you
presence. Mean. Yeah, but I think for me, it's it's all right. I mean, I always have sort of a soft spot for like the Sarah Kingdom audios. I mean, we've got the Sontarans coming up, but yeah, I do like the Sarah Kingdom audios, but I think maybe this is my least favorite of the Sarah Kingdom ones, maybe. Do you want to start off with the Yes Men? Because I've been talking for a little bit.
Yeah, well, this was my first early adventure, actually, because it was back in, when was it? 2014, the first series came out. I didn't quite have as much disposable income, I guess, to splash out on Big Finish, so I had to be a bit more selective with what I was getting. But then roll round to Early Adventure Series 2, a bit more coming in. Suddenly, I'm getting the bundle of the whole series and absolutely loving the Yes Men when I first got it. I really was taken by the narration. Fraser Hines does a brilliant job as the second Doctor. And I mean, having Elliot Chapman in there as Ben as well. So like the first, I think, recast that most people really universally praise. Like right from the off, he's got Ben. I know Tim Treloar, we love him. He's doing brilliant stuff now. But he did take a couple of sets to quite find the groove of it. And I think also that's down to us getting used to it too. But Elliot Chapman, pitch perfect as Ben Jackson. It's a shame that we have all that we have of him now, but I respect his decision to leave the role. Maybe they'll give us someone else who can be equally as brilliant. But yeah, the story itself, I can't remember too much about. I could just remember
it being a good murder mystery.
Yeah, I just remember really loving it and really loving the 60s like utopian feel of it all, with like this shining city, but this darker underbelly. And I know the robots were quite interesting as well, how they were worked into it, and some of the more creepy but also sympathetic sides to them as well. So yeah, I think I remember all around it's good for most of the characters involved. Ben didn't have quite as much to do, but that's because it was written with the knowledge that Fraser Hines was supposed to be reading in. But then when it came to actually recording it, they thought, "Nah, we'll get someone else in there." Fraser's already got enough on his plate with First Doctor and Jamie and narrate. Oh no, he doesn't do narration actually, does he? It's just Annika for the.
Yeah, I think Annika does this one, yeah.
Yeah, but even so, First Doctor and Jamie, that's a lot. And so, but yeah, I'd say truly remarkable. What about you?
I think this was my first Second Doctor audio I listened to.
Probably same here.
The one thing what I really remember from this story is the robots going Creator.
Oh yes,
that's what I remember of the story, of like them just mimicking Jamie. But yeah, I'm in agreement. I think truly remarkable. It is a good story from memory. It's got a good little murder mystery. I guess a little bit like the Faceless ones, with that sort of mystery going on. It does have that sort of feel to it, maybe. Yeah. The Forsaken. I think that
a mystery.
Yeah, I feel like this is a bit of a misfire.
Oh, really? I remember really enjoying this one.
I
enjoy past quite a bit.
I enjoy the story, but I think it's a misfire in terms of Ben meeting his dad. The story does nothing with that premise. And I think that's where it lets itself down. Because I think it's a good story. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy it, but I think that the whole selling point was Ben meeting his dad. And the story never quite delivers on that front for me.
Yeah, see, I can't quite remember where it does or doesn't, so which probably means you're right there if I can't remember what it does with it. But yeah, I think certainly that's interesting that it doesn't do much with. I love the setting of it. I think the music, it's got some of the best music. I mean,
I love
many Big Finishes, really.
I love the paranoia in the story. I think that's a good little theme within it.
Yeah, that's great. I think the monster plays into that as well, doesn't it?
Mm.
It's one of the. I think like when it's revealed, it's a bit less scary.
Yeah, I can see that from memory. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good cover. I love the cover for it, just being like black and white with like the red stripes. Like, isn't it set about like the invasion of Japan? Like Japan were going to invade the island from memory.
Yeah, I think like it was them trying to evacuate and stuff. Like they were sort of the last ones to go, and you've got this sort of rundown hotel, haven't you, on the island? Is interesting. Yeah. I think it's brilliant atmosphere this story had, and also something about the Second Doctor in wartime, isn't there? Like
he's got quite a few stories looking at this tier list in World War II.
Yeah, I mean, which is almost the Home Guard, but that twists it a bit. But yeah, certainly they like that vibe, even if that story isn't actually set then. And I mean, there's also Resistance, the Companion Chronicle as well.
Yeah, there is. Yeah,
and they're all Ben and Polly ones as well. Ben, Polly, and Jamie. Like it's not just the Second Doctor; it's this whole TARDIS team that seems to keep winding up there.
I guess it makes sense for that TARDIS team.
Yeah, but where are you leaning more towards them with this?
I think Great Jumping Gobstoppers.
I'll allow that.
Yeah, okay. Well, I enjoy it, but I just think
I've gone truly remarkable, but I can accept Great Jumping Gobstoppers.
I think that it's a good story. It is a good story, but I think that the whole selling point of like Ben meeting his dad and like Ben as a character, it didn't really utilize Ben as well for me. Like this should have been like a Ben story, but it didn't really. But I still enjoy it. I think it was an 8 out of 10 for me when I listened to it.
I think with what it does do, though, I remember Elliot Chapman gives a very good performance of it.
Oh yeah, I can't fault Elliot Chapman. I think he does a marvelous job.
Yeah, and like not just in sounding like him, but also in the emotion behind the performance as well, and the scenes with his dad that it does have. But yeah, so the black hole now. This is one that
you take it away.
Have you gone back to re-listen to this one at all since?
I listened to, I think it was series 4. I think when I listened to, I think Wreck of the World, I was like, you know what, I'll give the black hole a go. And I listened to part 1. I was like, yeah, I can't listen to this.
Oh dear. You're not a Rufus Hound fan either.
Yeah, I think this is
like
what
his big
clouds
reveal
my
episode.
judgment. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
whole big twist of him being in there, and it's a weird one for me. It is a really weird one.
I mean, I certainly remember it does go downhill quite a bit in the final episode. Like, that's just a weird mess of an episode from what I remember. You have like these odd aliens who were there. I think were they like thin white with no face or something and claw.
I honestly couldn't tell you. It shows how much of a lasting impact the story's made on me. I mean, David Warner's brilliant. I say that.
Yeah, we get him as the narrator for a change. I think it's Deborah Watling's only early adventure as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and they don't even use Victoria much within it, from memory.
Yeah. I think she is there doing graphology, isn't she? But
yeah,
I don't know, maybe not. I'd go.
I want to say
I'd accept because I do. I remember enjoying
thinking?
Parts of it, but I think I remember thinking it doesn't deserve the hate it gets, but it's not anything amazing either.
See, I don't hate it. There's just something about the story what I just don't really. Something for me. I just don't click into it.
Yeah, that's fair. It's certainly one of the ones that's the least authentic, I'd say, in a way.
Well, I mean, if you're not a fan of season 6B, it gets rid of it. So if that's your cup of tea.
Well, it doesn't get rid of the 5 Doctors, though.
I mean, it links to I remember it sort of having like 2 Doctors sort of stuff with it.
Yeah, it certainly tries to explain that gap, but it doesn't explain the 5 Doctors. So who knows? But I mean, Big Finish are doing stuff with that now anyway. So
yeah, we'll have to see.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry, ISOS Network.
I love this one. I've got a soft spot for it.
I like it, but I did re-listen to it recently as well. And
it takes a while for it to get going, I think.
Part 4 just feels a bit messy for me.
It's more concentrated on the slugs, I feel.
Where we finally get the Cybermen, we sort of push them all to one side and just focus on the controller.
Yeah. But I feel like it is a good continuation of the invasion, but it's not. It's it gives the invasion a new backstory, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's a very different style of story from the invasion, isn't it? Like, it's not attempting to be a sequel to it in that sense.
It's a very chatty story. Like, it's a very narration heavy story, I'd say that. So I think Nick Briggs wanted to mimic the Target book, so I definitely think it has that feel to it.
Yeah, I remember that being one of like his selling points when talking about it, wasn't it? But yeah, I'd say Great Jumping Gobstoppers is the highest I'd go.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. Age of Endurance, my goodness.
Back to you. I mean, I've listened to episode 1 because they put it out for free.
And what do you make of it?
I just struggled to get into it. And so I just thought that was sort of what made the decision for me not to go for the whole series. And then I got Revelli Conspiracy on its own. And then the day after that, they put a First Doctor sale on. And so I just missed out on getting that cheaper. But I thought, I'm not missing out on this. So I got Sontarans as well. Spoilers for Revelli, as in spoilers for where it's going to rank, not spoilers for the actual story. But I did really enjoy that. So I think I'm okay with paying full price. I think it's worth it, but it would have been nice to wait today. But yeah, Age of Endurance just didn't quite grab me. And also Gemma Powell as Barbara, I think I was quite harsh on her at the time, but having listened to the First Doctor Adventures now and hearing her there, and I think maybe hearing her alongside other recasts of the roles as well helped, but I have taken to her a lot more there as well, and the whole cast in that range. But yeah, here I remember that being something that I wasn't quite there for, but maybe now if I was to go back and pick these 2 up, I wouldn't be as upset about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, nevertheless, the story didn't grab me. So What does it get any better after episode 1? Was I missing out? Let's hear this.
No.
Wow.
Quite simply, no. I think that for me, out of the early adventures, series 3's the weakest. It's wrong to say that because, like, spoilers for the tier list, Revelli and the Sontarans are top tier for me. Like, they're really good.
Yeah,
but I think
I'm glad I picked those up.
The Age of Endurance and Fifth Traveler, like they're kind of the duds for me. I think with Barbara as well, it's a bit of a shame that they get Gemma Powell in and then she's out of the story for the rest of it because she gets captured by. It's kind of a bit like Domain of the Void, but in space, in the sense that we have like a flotilla of ships, but it's a bit of an interesting one.
Did they do any more with her in Fifth Traveler, or?
I mean, I only listened to part 1 of that, and I think that says it all.
Oh god, really?
For that story, for me, I'm gonna put Oh My Gideon. I mean, speaking of Fifth Traveler, it's probably my least favorite early adventure. I mean, I would like to go back and revisit it to get a full opinion, but I've only listened to part 1 of it, and again, I couldn't click into it. It's got something with weird jellyfish, and for me, it doesn't feel authentic 60s Doctor Who what the early adventures is.
Yeah.
I think that it's there we go.
Something's got to go down there.
Something's got to go down there. I'm actually quite surprised by this tier list, actually.
Nothing's taken top spot yet. Is that about to change with Revelli Conspiracy?
I think it's more than likely.
I would go top spot for this one. I mean, we've already praised it a little bit, but it is just so much fun. I think it's a very good story for Vicky.
Absolutely.
She has a lot of good moments in this.
I think it balances humor and the seriousness well. I think
it's something. It's funny because these two writers then went on to do
Kingdom of Lies.
Yeah, and that took me about a whole year to get through because I listened to the first 2 parts.
It's a tonal whiplash, isn't it, compared to this?
Yeah. It didn't have the same balance, and so I'd say this one. Would you look at the quality of that one, Doctor? For me,
I'll agree with that because I think that it's one of my favorite pure historical big finishes.
Yeah,
definitely, really. Maybe top 5 actually, or top 3.
I think narration really suits it as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does, because you get into the mindsets of like the historical characters. I mean, it did take me a while to sort of know who's who, because obviously, I think it's set in Italy, isn't it? The story.
Yeah. I mean, it's the Revelli Conspiracy, and it's Machiavelli, and so I think that sort of confused me at first because the names are a bit similar. But yeah, certainly once you get past that, there's a lot to enjoy here.
It's kind of like the Massacre. When I was listening to that, I have to have the recon for that just to picture all the characters, and I think that that's kind of the same, really. But yeah, I think it's a good story. Very good story.
I know it's one of those covers where, because you've got 3 different characters on there, you're sort of like looking at it, trying to think, okay, which one's which? Who am I meant to be imagining here?
It's trying to fit the voice with the face, I feel, with it.
Yeah. At least with something like this, you have the easy reference of just looking at the actor and seeing what they look like. So then, you can match them. Because I know something like Widow's Assassin, you've got a lot of these crazy aliens, and you're sort of like, okay, which one's which of this? But certainly. Also, I know we said early adventures, goods like Wintry Listen. I think this one would suit some of though, like the Italian setting and stuff.
I might listen to that tonight then. See.
Yeah, there you go.
See how it is.
Not we've got the sunniest weather at the moment, but
no, we've got rain. Classic Britain.
Yeah, we've had our heat wave for the year. It's all going downhill now.
Yeah, we're getting ready for the autumn.
Yeah, but what's not going downhill? Well, I mean, I'd say slightly downhill. I
disagree. I disagree.
I wouldn't. It's certainly not by much for me. I'd say it's only a little bit lower, but yeah, Sontarans. It is set during Dalek's master plan. I mean, like all the Sarah Kingdom stories are, but it ties into it a bit more, doesn't it?
Especially
Not
at the
fully-
end. The ending's a
Yeah.
lovely little bonus, let's say.
Yeah, but like thematically, it feels like it fits that era, doesn't it?
Oh, definitely. You could definitely listen to this, and in between like part whatever of Dalek Master Plan, and it'll flow really well.
Yeah, I think it's 7 and 8, isn't it? Where these
Yeah.
stories fit, and well, yeah, it's nice having the canonical story for that's a
We opened a can of worms.
interesting question, but it's a story of how the Doctor first met the Sontarans. Like, obviously, he knows of them, and well, not just knows of them, has encountered them before when it comes to the Time Warrior. And then 2 Doctors, he's met them before there when he's in the second incarnation. Now we finally get that. And I think it's something that when I first heard about this announcement, I thought, I feel like that would more suit the second Doctor, the monster era and such. But I was very wrong. It certainly suits them going up against the Space Security Service. And yeah, I mean, we even get there's a Sontaran reference in Dalek Universe, if I'm not mistaken, isn't there?
Yeah, there
Trojan
is.
Dalek, yeah.
With Mark 7's love interest or person who loves it, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, story itself, I feel like it dips a bit in episode 3 for me.
Is that when we get to like the little
underground
colony?
City, I think it is.
Yeah, little colony found.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of fun before that. It's very Terry Nation style. It's like, what if Terry Nation rode the Sontarans? Again, fitting with Dalek's master plan. And you have this quite intense chase sequence, don't you? And they're going into the asteroid. You have the moment of the Sontaran coming out the lava, which is beautifully recreated on the cover.
The video trailer for this. Wonderful video trailer.
Yeah, animated better than Web of Fear these monsters are.
True. I mean, I just want to say this is my favourite Sontaran Big Finish story. It really sells him as a brute force. And I think Dan Starkey does a tremendous job. And it sort of fits with Sontaran's like Steyer sort of examining humans the way the Sontarans sort of are examining Stephen and sort of testing like the pain and all that. It's all brilliant stuff. And the Sontarans are a real credible, just a force that just won't stop. You know, like you said, like the lava, you think that they've stopped them, but then it just rises. It just creates such strong visuals in your mind when you have that. I think that it's just truly remarkable. Like you, I was on the fence about this story because like, do we really need it? And I think that's why this story's made a lasting impact with me because of just how much I was proven wrong by it.
Yeah. You want to go?
I want to go top tier for me personally.
I'm leaning more towards second, but I'll give you top for this one.
Thank you very much, sir. Yeah, I just enjoy that. Should we have a little look at the chat and then we continue?
Yeah, I'd say good. We're about halfway through. Actually, no, we're exactly halfway through. So yeah,
there we go. Let's have a look at the old chat.
What are people saying?
Let's have a good old look.
Sure, I think the stylish one's having some hot takes there, perhaps.
Oh, I look forward to having a read of those.
Jaden Hunt, I'm sure you get asked this all the time, but will you do a Doctor ranking? Do you get asked that all the time? Because I don't see the chat.
The first time I've been asked that.
Yeah, you could do.
I feel like me and you are fairly similar with some Doctors, but I feel like when we get to the new series stuff, we differ quite a bit. I feel.
Yeah, maybe. I feel like I'm at that point now where I view all Doctors reasonably equally.
I think for me, I can do my top 5, but the Doctors sort of shift in between like 5th place. After like my top 5, I just get a bit stum.
Yeah, and
like I've got my 3
who you've experienced more recently, and also like when you get towards the bottom of the list, you're just feeling too harsh.
Yeah,
about who gets bottom spot, but then or like anywhere near the bottom, and you think these are actually quite close to some of the ones near the top, but you've just got. Yeah.
I can do my top 3 easy.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's one of the advantages of tier lists, to be fair, because
you don't feel as harsh.
Yeah, you don't have to rank them all in a list. You do get to clump them together. But even so, I mean, yeah, that could be. I suppose that could be the torture of it, couldn't it?
Yeah,
That's some entertainment value, but
I feel like we'd definitely argue on that.
I mean, yeah, Jaden, if you want that, maybe that'll come sometime.
Maybe we could do that in like December. Be a nice little Christmas live stream treat, maybe like a little celebration.
Yeah, if we remember.
I'm sure we'll put it down on the endless list of tier lists.
Yeah, we've got a few more to go.
I've got plenty more.
Yeah. We've gotten good at syncing them up as well with releases, haven't we?
Yeah, so far we've got it good. I mean that could change sort of October time because I go back to uni, so who knows? Just depends on the timetable for that.
Yeah,
but I'm sure we can find a way of getting it in.
Yeah, just keep a couple of hours free a week. You never know.
For sure. If not, we can do one on the weekend. It'll be fine.
Yeah, we've squeezed this one to the weekend, so
yeah, it's doable.
Yeah, I mean, the chat is still pretty popular, so thankfully not had an effect on us shifting this back a couple of days. Thank you all for tuning in and putting up.
Not that it's over yet. We're not finished yet.
Yeah, this isn't a goodbye. We've still got half a tier list to go.
Yeah, so smash that like button, everyone. Give us some love.
Speaking of going, no, Stylish One has gone now.
Goodbye, Stylish One.
I say that we have got more comments later, but
okay.
Welcome back. I did say goodbye then, so goodbye.
Welcome back.
The Sontarans is the best Sontaran stories, Tom Garb says. So there you go. Someone else agrees with you.
I agree with that.
Would you say best Sontaran story though?
No, Time Warrior.
Yeah.
That's Pertwee. I'm sorry. Natural bias comes into that.
If they do a Tim Treloar Sontaran story, will that automatically then be the Sontaran story?
No. That's John Pertwee.
Oh no, not beat Time Warrior, but beat Sontarans.
Maybe. Oh, it depends how good the story is.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I mean, I do like the Eternal Battle. That's another good one.
Yeah, that's a fun one.
Cameron Thomas just checked. I meant the other story. Yeah, that Unzal incursion. So I was right with my little guess.
Yeah, the cameo there. Yeah. Furious Time Lord asks if there will be a Victoria figure. We can hope.
I mean, if there's an Ian Chesterton figure, then I'm sure we'll get a Victoria.
Yeah.
I don't know anything what character are doing. I just get sent dollies and say nice things.
Yeah. It'll just be a question of Jamie and the kilt, won't it? Unless they do some variant outfit.
They can do. I reckon they could do a Jamie using like the torso of like the Mickey figure, and then like do like maybe a new lower half, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
You can do like a mind robber Jamie with like the turtleneck. I think it'll work.
Yeah.
The first two early adventures in Series 3 were recorded a whole 2 years before release. That's the early days of Big Finish. Forward planning, a sign of things to come with Tom Baker. Tom Baker's probably recorded about 80 series by now.
Yeah. I mean, we say that, but I'm pretty sure even back then he was recording fairly well in advance by that point.
I think the recent ones were recorded in 2019 because I think Peter Purvis did a tweet in 2019 referencing this story. So,
oh really? I think certainly see what's After the Daleks. I think they've got the recording dates on it. Yeah, After Daleks was October 2019.
So I think they're both 2019.
No, this was home recorded.
What was it? Because I swear Peter Purvis did like a tweet relating to a good few days recording an audio. So I could be a future little thing.
Maybe that was the Series 6 one.
Maybe could be that. Yeah.
What was it? Daughter of the Gods. But yeah, certainly it doesn't have the dates on it. But if you look on Secrets of Death's End, the backstage bit, they've got like the photos of them all in there, like cupboards and pillow forts and stuff where they're all home recording. So
yeah,
certainly it was 2020 or 2021. I think that's actually why this series was delayed.
Oh, maybe that could be it.
Yeah, why we usually get I mean, we would probably got it around November 2020, wouldn't we? But
yeah, I'd guess so. Yeah.
Yeah, but more chat.
More chat. Domain of the Void is the only early adventure out of print. Yeah. Doctor's Tale. Doctor's Tale. It seems like such a warm and comforting listen, while the Bounty series seems the opposite in a good way. They are definitely polar opposites, and the Doctor's Tale is definitely that warm winter's night listen. I'd say it's good because it's got snow, so it's a winter's listen in my mind.
Yeah.
Favorite early adventure cover from each series? Ooh, that's a good question.
Yeah, probably.
I'd say for me, series 1, I would say Doctor's Tale because I just like the historical costumes. It just feels very different.
I'd agree with that.
And then series 2, I've got a soft spot for the ISOS Network cover actually.
I'd go Forsaken for me, but
okay.
Yeah. I love the style of the ISOS Network cover though. That's like
I just like the Invasion Cybermen, to be honest. And then series 3, I think Sontarans wins.
Yeah, I love the Sontaran hands. They're the 3 fingers. How they work that onto it.
Yeah, that was a good little addition. Series 4, I want to say Wreck of the World. Actually, I do like that sort of color motif of like the yellow and the black and white.
I love that one, but I also love the Outliers. I like the image of that like 60 suburban home in this asteroid with the flooded water around it.
And Troughton in the astronaut suit is a little joy.
Yeah, I think that is a very good. And also colorization. I mean, we said we like the black and white, but I also love the colorization of Ben, Polly, and Jamie on there. That works really well.
Yeah, that is good.
Yeah. Dalek Occupation of Winter, maybe for series 5.
I'm just trying to think of the covers.
Yeah, because
I do quite like the Ideal World because I'd like that sort of 2018 had that weird banner phase, didn't it, with like the covers?
Yeah, for me, that's what is holding back an Ideal World. I do love what's there, but that banner on it doesn't quite work for me. It feels a bit off.
And then the next series, I think it's got to be Daughter of the Gods.
Well, I quite like the Home Guard cover, to be fair.
I do like the Dad's Army, and I like the TARDIS in like the fog and mist. It's like adventure in space and time.
Yeah, it's got a good bit of atmosphere to it.
I just think because of a sheer spectacle, it has to be Daughter of the Gods for me.
Yeah, that's another good cover though. And now, the final one. These are both 2 very good covers.
Because I noticed when I was making the thumbnail for After the Daleks how good of a cover it is. It's simple, but it works so well. Like, you know what that story, technically that story's about.
I love the Survivors vibe it gives off as well. It's like similar to some of their covers, but yeah. What's it? Secret Death's End, another good cover. I'd go after the Daleks.
I'd go Death's End for me because I just love the visual pop of the colours. I like that.
Yeah. I suppose it sort of works better for After Daleks to be a bit more drowned out, doesn't it?
Because it's a bleak story.
Yeah. They're a nice contrast to each other, though. I think they work well together. I think sometimes in a series you get covers that don't work well together. They do feel... I like it when a series has an identity of sorts within itself with the covers.
One thing I will say about Death's End is that Yeti. Why has it got like that weird mechanical thing around it?
Yeah.
That was never explained in the story unless I completely missed that bit, but I don't remember them having like a weird sort of crystal on them.
Yeah, it's hard to tell exactly what that's meant to be. But certainly it's some, like, is that a rope or something maybe?
I don't think Dodo like towed the Yeti to the monastery.
No, I'm not sure. No.
But yeah, that's just me being pedantic.
Yeah, that's more just... That's certainly not a story problem. That's just a weird decision. Maybe it's just where the image came from. There was no way not to have that. Or maybe it's sort of to kind of be a bit, not false marketing, but, you know, just to add a bit of mystery, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe.
It's a weird one, but yeah, I'm sure we'll talk more about Secrets of Death's End towards the end.
Definitely. The iSource network utilizes with Cybermen well, isn't overly long, and finds something substantial and noteworthy for each of the TARDIS members to do.
I do like how it works with them split up.
Yeah, it does work quite well. Home Guard is one of my favorite Big Finish trailers.
I don't think I ever listened to that one.
No, I don't think I listened to it either.
I can't say I remember.
It could be one of the best trailers out there for all I know. Elliot Chapman was apparently lovely behind the scenes, embodied Michael Craze, and has even added little things to Ben would have done into the scripts. I think that just shows how much he cared about the character.
Yeah, he really did put a lot into it. You're not going to like Stylish next comment though.
Oh no, go on.
The Black Hole, the Black Hound, the Black Hole has The Black Hound has Rufus Hole in it. And that's
that's a different story. Yeah, Rufus Hound, take it or leave it for me.
Well, Furious Time Lord's not very happy with us. He said it's 10:33. It's even later.
It's now 11 o'clock
now.
It's
late now.
Sorry, Furious Time.
Jude H. The Black Hole is pretty meh. So
I agree. Will the Ice Warriors return? Who knows? I mean, I'd love me some Ice Warriors.
That'd be good in with the second Doctor.
Absolutely, I'd love to have another Ice Warrior story. I actually really like the Fifth Traveler. I'll have to revisit it, Tom, to see how it goes, to see how it is. Hello, Mike. How are you?
Hello.
I think that's the chat all caught up, really.
Yeah.
Should we go back onto the old tier list and wrap this up?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Let's go for series 4.
Furious Time Lord is keen for us to get to bed on time.
We'll try and get through this as quick as we can.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
back to the old tier list.
Yeah, and from this point on, we do both have all of them, and I think we both listened to all of them, haven't we?
Yeah.
No more part ones that put you off, and
no, I've done videos on all of these stories.
Oh, there we go. Retreading old ground.
Yeah, hopefully my memory from watching those videos like the past week has served me well.
Yeah. That's it.
The Night Witches by Roland Moore. My favourite Roland Moore script. I don't think that's a spoiler to say.
That's his first one, isn't it, as well?
His first one. So he was off to a flying start. And I just remember absolutely loving this one. I think because it's in World War... Yeah, I think it's in World War II, isn't it, this one?
Yeah. No, I said, was that a plain pun?
Oh, gosh, sorry.
A flying start.
Oh, yeah. It's unintentional. I'm a comedy genius. I had such a fun time with this one. Though I will say it relies on a visual gimmick with Tatiana, is it?
Oh, yeah. But they didn't. Yeah, they ended up getting a different actress, didn't they?
That's only because Annika Wills didn't feel comfortable doing a Russian accent.
Yeah, which I can understand, because I think that's one of the accents that is, I mean, as you've just proven, very easy to go stereotypical with.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I can see why she didn't do that. But
and I guess I wouldn't say it's like Polly's enemy of the world, but I guess it can fall into that sort of classic trope in a way of going, oh, that's that. Of course, it's Polly. You know, what do you mean that's not Tatiana? Like, especially in part 4 when Tatiana's like, take me with you.
Yeah. I see. It's even I suppose like Polly's Black Orchid is probably the one to compare it more to, because that
makes more sense.
Yeah, I think that's the only classic story where a companion plays 2 roles.
Yeah, I think yeah.
Yeah, certainly. It's something that they sort of died out a bit after the 60s, isn't it, really? But I think it was a gimmick quite a lot in other 60s shows and movies.
We do have we've got Hartnell playing the Abbot in The Massacre, but that's another thing.
Yeah, they don't get to meet there.
Yeah. But one thing I do admire is it's exploring a bit of World War II history, what isn't commonly explored, like the Night Witches. I like that.
Yeah. Like we've said about how World War II, it's a setting they like to go back to, but they're never retreading the same ground. I mean, it's a war that affected all corners of the world. It's a big bit of our history. And so it makes sense for there to be lots of story opportunities there of very different varieties and kinds. And with this one, pure historical rather than a alien threat like in The Forsaken. Sorry, I'm just getting what was there.
I think as well with this story, it's a base under siege story, but in the unconventional sense, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's true.
With I can't remember, but there's obviously an army force closing in on them, and that's sort of you've got this tiny little base of the Night Witches doing what they can. So I think it does have quite a bit of tension within there, and I think that the second Doctor goes missing, so it really plays, I think, with episode 1's cliffhanger when a bomb drops and like the Doctor and Jamie are completely out of the story, so it really sells that. Oh my god, what has happened?
Yeah, I think it's also one of the stories where the Doctor isn't necessarily the star of it. He's more just caught up in the events like the other companions, really, isn't he? Yeah, but I remember it draggy a bit after a while, though. And I feel like it repeated the same plot points a bit and overdid the thing of Tatiana and Polly looking the same. But I'd say truly remarkable for me.
See, I was thinking top tier, but because you say truly remarkable, I can agree. I can agree with that. I can agree. The Outliers, I think this is my favorite of this series. I love it. It makes the Radio Times. It explains, like the 10-year anniversary Radio Times photo shoot of Annika Wills and Michael Craig on like the beach with the Cybermen.
Oh yeah,
it makes it fit in. Like Simon Gurry is just like the king of 60s Doctor Who, and this just shows it, and I love it. It's got a wonderful atmosphere to it, like the whole thing of like the little boat going across like the water and like this massive Loch Ness monster creature rises up. It's blooming great.
Simon Gurrier likes his bases in the water, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does actually. It's good with Cybermen.
Yeah, this sort of has a bit of a similar vibe to it. I like he's very good at building these worlds, isn't he?
Very good.
And I think even Black Hole, going back to that, there's like that one line where it just says the analog wars. And I mean, it's just this throwaway reference, but similar to stories that Russell T Davies and Bob Holmes wrote, it has that similar style of evoking feelings just from a short line like that. But yeah, The Outliers itself, very well built world, uses narration very well. That's something that Simon Gurry is particularly good at. You can see why they got him for the first audio novel. But yeah, I really do rate this story, and it's very 60s as well.
Yeah,
and like it's very swinging 60s. Like you can feel a lot of the colors popping, even though it's just an audio.
Absolutely. I think for me, I would say top tier for me.
Yeah, I'd go top tier.
There we go. We're in agreement. There we go. It's definitely becoming an interesting shape tier list. This is definitely is.
Yeah.
From my favorite early adventure from this series to my least favorite, the Morton Legacy.
I'd say the Night Witch is my least favorite.
Okay.
I still really like it, but yeah, this is a very strong series overall.
And it's consistent. Definitely is consistent.
Yeah.
And that's one thing what I enjoyed about this series, this series in particular, is that it's Ben and Polly, and it's utilizing that crew more. Getting the use out of Elliot Chapman. So I like that. It almost seems a bit weird having Zoe at the end of it. Like you think, well, can we just have one, like a whole series of Ben, Polly, and Jamie?
Yeah, that's true. It is a bit odd, but
no disrespect to Wreck of the World, because it's a good story.
Yeah. If anything, it feels more like maybe we should have had two Ben and Polly and two Jamie and Zoe. Just to balance that out a bit more. Especially because Zoe doesn't really have that many. She's only got 3 total.
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah. Ben, Polly, and Jamie have 6 toasts. They've got double.
Jeez.
As well. Yeah.
Hopefully next year we'll have a balance of early adventures.
Yeah, I mean, I could see it being just 2 with Elliot Chapman moving on from the role. I could see it being just 2 Jamie and Zoe ones, which I'd be fine with.
Yeah, I'd be down for that.
But yeah, Morton Legacy itself, we've sort of drifted away from that. It's got an interesting twist to it, which I really did appreciate. And it's got a great line towards the end where so the motivations are revealed to be quite sympathetic and characters are almost feeling sorry for them. And then the doctor's like, he's still a murderer. I think that line hits quite hard as well. And it sort of makes you realize that often in media, when you see the sympathetic side to these characters who do horrible things, you sort of forget the horrible things and forgive the horrible things, and that's fine. It's a piece of fiction. That's what you're meant to do with it. But yeah, so when it comes to real people, it sort of blurs that line a bit more, doesn't it? And so this story takes that idea and makes you think a bit, and I really appreciate it for that. But also, I just love the setting. I love the concept of the Doctor's TARDIS being brought by this guy. It's not an original one to this story, but
it's a bit like evil, like the start of Evil of the Daleks in a way.
Yeah, and you've also got the Victorian setting as a similar point there as well.
And you've got sort of that urgency to get back to the TARDIS, because isn't it like they can get back to their own time, isn't it? There's something like Ben and Polly can get back to their own time.
Yeah, there's the possibility that they could, isn't there? Yeah, that rings a bell.
I remember like the villains being very much like the Artful Dodger type characters, like some of you'll see out of a Charles Dickens novel.
Yeah, it's sort of similar to Philip Hinchcliffe Presents, like the Ghosts of Growlstead, those grave robber characters.
Yeah, like you say, I like how the story plays with your expectations. I think that's not a spoiler, is it?
No. It's hard to.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying, because I feel like if I say any more, I'll spoil what you mean by the story.
Yeah. It's almost like what is it? Fires of Pompeii, the modern art moment. It's like someone's got the TARDIS for that purpose rather than anything sinister.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's got a lot of good moments. I do love the Victoriana setting in any story, really. We're big Jago and Lightfoot fans. It works well there. And so I remember at the time of the announcement, I was thinking, oh, this feels a bit odd. Doesn't this feel more like a story that the first Doctor, Ian and Barbara and Susan would be at home in? But no, I think they make it work for these characters and work quite well. Especially when you think that Ben and Polly are from London anyway. And so getting to see their home, but 100 years earlier, it's around 100 years before, isn't it, the saying?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah. So certainly that plays into it quite nicely, being similar to what they know, but not quite.
Could have had Jago and Lightfoot in it as like a little cameo.
Oh, yeah.
That would have been nice.
I mean, you can imagine, like the War Games at the end, there's those 2 people who walk forward as the TARDIS materializes and then look at the camera and walk away. You can imagine like Jago and Lightfoot do that at the store.
Go, damn, we missed him.
Corks. Yeah.
Oh, lummy.
Or they just bump into each other on the street and don't even recognise. Like, just Jago walks into the second Doctor. Says, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh no, it's all my fault."
Yeah, have some money, you little peasant. You little hobo.
Jago would probably be a bit more dismissive of him, really, wouldn't he?
Oh.
Do you mind, you scruffy little scarecrow?
Auditions are next Tuesday. Get yourself some clothes first. Oh, that'd been all right. Yeah. Morton Legacy. I'm torn between Truly Remarkable and Great Jumping Godstoppers.
I want to go Truly Remarkable for it.
Okay.
It's not. Yeah, I wouldn't rate it top anyway. So
you let me have the Night Witches, so I'll let you have the Morton Legacy.
Yeah. I didn't let you have the Night Witches.
Oh, well,
you wanted to put that top spot, and I didn't let you.
Yeah, true. I mean, I'm just
Well, are you going to get your revenge for this next one then?
Hopefully.
because I would put this one top spot. I really do enjoy Wreck of the World as well.
I like the monster within it.
Yeah, it's very great intelligence-y, isn't it? But
yeah,
not
definitely.
quite. It sort of suits that vibe.
I like the opening start with like Zoe repairing the TARDIS roof from like the mind robber from memory.
Yeah,
that was wonderful.
Yeah, and like it's nice for Jamie as well. How it's not that he doesn't trust her, but he's very protective of her, isn't he? And so, but he can't be the one up there. He doesn't have the scientific know-how for it, so it has to be her. And she is very capable in her own right. It's just Jamie's 1800s attitude of, I've got to protect the wee lassie.
And then it all goes downhill after that for them as they go on this. Is it like space station? Is it or?
Yeah, it's like it's another arc, isn't it? Really?
Yeah.
But it's one that's got lost, is drifting, no power, everyone's dead on board. Terrible time. You have this wonderful robot character who speaks like broken English. It's like ship dead, and Zoe gets paired up with them for a lot of the story while the Doctor and Jamie are going around doing their thing. And it's very 60s, but it's also heightened as well with some of the like the scavenger crew that ends up joining them. They're like these made out of these quite alien people. Like one of them's a fish, one of them is big. I think he's made of rock or something.
Yeah, around
like
that.
The big strong one, yeah. But yeah, I really have a soft spot for this one. It's a great time for me, and it's one that I have stuck on a couple of times just to enjoy. I think part of it as well is that it's the only Jamie and Zoe story not to be like a reference story. Like it doesn't have the Daleks or the Cybermen in it like the other two. And so that's what I'm hoping for more of next series, just more Jamie and Zoe in normal episodes.
Yeah, because it does seem to like they rely on, because they've cut down the series to 2 releases now, so it feels like they have to have not a gimmick but a selling point.
Yeah.
So the range can continue to be viable for them, which is, I guess, a bit of a shame, really.
Yeah, I mean, Home Guard, you've got like the Doctor facing the Master, although obviously they end up downplaying that for understandable circumstances. And then Daughter of the Gods, First Doctor teaming up Second Doctor going up against the Daleks. And then you've got a sequel to Dalek Invasion of Earth and a prequel to The Abominable Snowmen. So it's all like quite tying into other stories now, isn't it?
It's like, you're a fan, you remember this and buy this.
Yeah, and they're very good stories for the most part still.
Oh, yeah.
But there is sort of like that feeling of, I like these stories, but I want more in between to space these out, make them feel more special, and just give me good stories in their own right. And I think that's what Series 4 does very as well, because none of them really tie into anything else. Like there's no return. It's the first series not to feature any returning monsters.
It feels more earned, doesn't it, when you get like a story like Daughter of the Gods or whatever. It's like Dalek Occupation of Winter, though it's like the opening story. You've still got that balance of 3 other stories within that series, so you're still getting that original. So I guess that makes Dalek Occupation of Winter stand out, really.
Yeah, and also it was the first Dalek story in the range. Like after it took them 5 series to get to there, and then suddenly we get 2 more in the next series. But so Wreck of the World, I'd lean more towards top spot. Would you look at the quality of that one, Doctor? But I'll accept it if you put in Truly Remarkable.
I'm feeling a generous man tonight.
Wow.
I'll be kind. Because I remember enjoying it. I really liked the monster, and I liked the claustrophobicness of it.
That's something that really needs some well. It's quite a horrific monster as well, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Like how,
I want to say, it's not the Carriac. It's like something,
Corvus,
that's it.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. I still need to listen to his Ninth Doctor story. I'll listen to that tonight, hopefully.
The Planet of the End. Again, sort of dealing with a similar theme of like, what's it called? A place where people die.
He's a cheery chap, isn't he? That
Yeah,
attack.
it's not quite because this is more of a accidental one, isn't it? Like I don't want to say too much and spoil the story, but yeah, it has its gruesome moments, I will say. And it's this monster that's similar to the Great Intelligence in that it doesn't quite have a form, but it still has an impact, and brilliant stuff.
I feel like I need to revisit this one now since you've praised it, and now we've got Web of Fear and Death Zone. I feel like it would be a good one to stick on again.
Yeah, so Dalek Occupation of Winter now again.
I don't know what needs to be said about this. This is one of the best of the range for me.
I wouldn't go that far, but I will. Like I said earlier, I wasn't as keen on it at first listen. I remember people praising it and me thinking this is a bit overrated. Like I remember a lot of people saying, "Oh, Vicky gets put through a really tough time in this. Like it's horrific what she gets put through." And I was listening, thinking, "It's not that bad."
I would say Stephen gets it probably worse.
Yeah, he probably does. Like that. It's got a dark twist at the end as well. Like ends on a somber note, and I do love the moral dilemma that the story explores. Of these are people who are helping the Daleks. They don't know that they're evil, but obviously, the Doctor, Stephen and Vicky do they risk upsetting this colony's life and putting these people in more danger in order to save people elsewhere? And so I do love the moral dilemma of that. I think what also makes me view this story slightly less is that Emissary of the Daleks explores a similar idea and does it even better.
Okay. Yeah. For me, I just remember so much about it, and I've only listened to this once, and I remember it being one of my favorites from, was it 2017 this came out?
Yeah, that adds up.
Yeah, I remember it being one of my favorites from that year, and I just...
Oh, no, 2018.
28, blimey. Oh, gosh.
Yeah, because it's the new style of cover.
Oh, yeah, my bad. Fake fan. But yeah, I remember just loving every second of it, like Hartnell being the first Doctor being interrogated by like using one of the Dalek pyro flames. And you can just imagine the first Doctor just clutching his lapels going, "Go on then, burn me, make me crispy." And then Stephen...
She is a despicable character as well, isn't she? I can't remember her name, but
she's a nasty piece of work.
Yeah, security chief. God.
And then you've got Stephen really showing the Daleks' true colors in a way when he's in the is it like the production line, and he's trying to prove that the Daleks are evil. Go, look, they're evil, and then he starts making like a bit of fuss and like, you're not going to kill me. And like the Dalek, the way the narrations for the Dalek gun, that it's twitching, waiting to fire, but it just knows it can't. Like the narration for that is so well done.
But I mean, because obviously Stephen knows of the Daleks from before this. Like, yeah. He appears first at the end of the chase, but I'm not sure. Does he actually encounter them in that story? He's certainly with them.
I remember.
Yeah. But never because he's from around that time where there's a lot of Dalek invasion and things, and obviously he knows about them in Master Plan. I think it works that he's the one dealing with that. Because he's probably lost friends to it, hasn't he, really? Like not just people he's met on his travels, but people he'd have met in the security service, people who he spent a longer time with.
Yeah, piloting around.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just love it. I think this is when Nick Briggs really honed in making the Daleks authentic, because I love Nick Briggs. But I think when you have like a certain Dalek story, it kind of comes across as Dalek voice, whereas I feel like he's really emulating Peter Hawkins within this, and it really makes it feel like you are listening to a missing episode.
It's very power, isn't it? The performance.
Yeah, definitely is. It's the first Doctor's power of the Daleks, if that's a selling point.
Yeah. So go on then. Put it where you want to put it. I'll be generous.
Yay! I mean, I let you have Wreck of the World.
Yeah, there we go. It's all give and take on this.
Yeah. It's all even.
Yeah. An Ideal World.
I remember you liking this one more than me when this first came out.
This is my favourite of the series 5, I'd say. But especially the first half. I love just exploring the world, all the crazy stuff that goes on. It's got an interesting moral dilemma towards the end. I would admit it fluffs that up a bit and maybe spends a bit too long pondering over it and making a mess of some things. But I just love the atmosphere of the first half of it and the creeping dread of this monster as it shifts into a base under siege in the second half, and how that works, how the monster goes into it, the plot twists within it. It does a lot for me, this story. How about you?
I like you say, the moral dilemma. This series, is it series 5, isn't it, or series 4?
Yeah, 5.
5. It was marketed as like its own little season of adventures, and this sort of puts this sort of character drama in motion because of the way the story ends, and it makes it has a very interesting last scene between the TARDIS crew, doesn't it?
Mm.
And I remember it utilizing. Is the first Doctor or Stephen ill within it? I think Stephen's ill within it.
I can't remember. No, I think it's First Doctor, isn't it?
First Doctor.
Stephen has his space medicine from the future.
Oh yeah, because this is when Stephen's working on like the medicine, isn't it, or something like that?
Yeah, so that's what's
So it really utilizes Stephen really well, and I think that this is sort of the season where I was like, yeah, Stephen's my favorite First Doctor companion.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was like, yeah, Stephen's my favorite.
Yeah. Are you leaning towards Truly Remarkable then?
Yeah, I think Truly Remarkable for me. I mean, are you top tier? Are you or?
I'll accept Truly Remarkable for this one because,
okay,
like I say, it is a bit iffy towards the end for me.
But it's still a word. Who wrote that one actually?
Ian Potter again.
Okay. Oh yeah,
I think
he's good.
He did Bounty of Series as well, didn't he?
So it's on the same line as Bounty of Series.
Yeah. I think he's one of the writers they only seem to get for 60 stuff.
He's done a few Companion Chronicles from memory.
Yeah. But I think didn't he do Time Museum?
Yeah, I think. No, that was James Goss.
Oh, no, Sleeping City, I think I might be thinking of.
Yeah, he did Sleeping City, and I think he did one of the ones from like the box sets.
Yeah. Is it Blood? Something in the Blood or something?
Yeah, he did that one. I swear he did one for Volume 2.
Was it the one with the train, The Mouthless Dead? Is that it? No, that's John Pritchard, I think.
John Pritchard did the... Oh, I could be getting mixed up with John Pritchard, actually.
I'm going to search for more Big Finish, see what
he...
he's done The Hollow King for Countermeasures.
Who did
Short Trips as well?
Who did the Cross the Darkened City?
Not him.
Not him. Okay.
Yeah, I'll check that in a sec. He did Cortex Fire, the Sixth Doctor and Flip story.
Okay, that was good. That was good.
Yeah. Oh no, he did the Unwinding World for the First Doctor Volume 1.
Ah, yeah.
Which is the Vicky story. And then where is I've just got to skip ahead to First Doctor Volume 2. David Bartlett wrote Across the Darkened City.
Ah, okay.
Don't know what. No, he's only wrote for the Companion Chronicles. His only other one was the Integral from Second Doctor Volume 1. That's the Victoria story. Oh no, it isn't. Sorry, that's a Zoe story.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's like the one where they're in that hospital type place.
Yeah. Where Jamie gets to shine.
Yeah.
Right, should we go on to the next story, Entanglement, where we see the First Doctor become a lecturer at Cambridge Uni.
Yeah, it's a similar experience to Lightfoot, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. Yeah, from School of Blood. Yeah.
This is another one where the ending, I think, goes a bit funny, but I do love the build up to it, and I love the setting of the story. It
goes a bit generic for me.
Oh,
sadly. I remember me and you getting really excited about this one because, like, there was like a reference in the Damons about an incident in Cambridge. in the 30s, and I was like, all right, we're gonna get like the Damons.
Yeah, but it doesn't seem to tie into that really.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
I love the visual of the TARDIS just stuck on like the wall.
Yeah, that's fun.
It's very Romanesque for me.
Yeah. I think the characters as well make this quite fun.
I do remember enjoying it. I think it's probably my least favorite of the series.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
But I still had a good time listening to it.
Yeah. Great jumping gobstoppers.
I'm in agreement with that.
Yeah. And now Crash of the UK 201. A very Vicky-focused story, as you could probably tell from the cover.
I love this one.
Yeah, I do really enjoy it.
It's a good what if Vicky never joined the Doctor, and how time sort of unravels around it. Like it's a really chunky listen.
Yeah, it's sort of like her turn left, isn't it? But more full on.
Yeah, it really is. Like I know I say I'm not a fan of Doctor Light Adventures, but I maybe this is my favorite of the series.
Oh wow!
I just really enjoyed it. But I think Jonathan Morris did this one, and I love it. It's a good one.
Like, it's got a lot of good moments, a lot of heartbreaking moments for Vicky as well as it goes throughout.
It explores her family and how, like, it's sort of, it's like, what if that ship didn't crash on the planet Die? It's great. It is a really rich story, and just how her life just becomes more depressing as it unravels.
Yeah, I think it's similar to what's it? The War Master, Master of Callus, isn't it? How that's very long form storytelling, like exploring someone's life. This does a similar thing, not quite as brutally, but it has its dark moments. And I think I do like how each episode sort of separated out through that as we go through Vicky's life. Like we start just on the ship and have that alternative events, and then we spin off from there and maybe get an explanation as to how the TV movies, not TV, the movie movies, the actual releases with Peter Cushing could be canon, perhaps. Canon in a way, but I'm not as big a fan of this from memory. I can't quite say what I disliked about it, but I just remember I'd lean more towards Truly Remarkable. But
I'd say I'd go. I think that's fair. I remember the creatures being really good, like in like the hospital scenes.
Oh yeah,
that was good.
That's another one where it's like that creeping dread, isn't it, as they close in. That's
really good.
I like how it integrates Stephen as well.
Yeah, cause it's like, is it Stephen trying to break down like the barriers or something like that?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a good one because it follows on from like the end of Entanglement, doesn't it? It sort of flows in like how The Heart and the Lyra did.
Yeah, I mean that's sort of what they do with this whole series, isn't it? Like each story ends on a cliffhanger, leading us into the next one. But you can still get them separately if you want to and enjoy them fine.
I mean, I'd argue that Entanglement and Crash UK probably are the ones that will link the most together. Not that you need, but I'd say out of the series, that's the one what probably follows on directly.
Yeah. Okay. Home Guard now. I think you haven't. What did you listen to this one? I
listened to, I think, half of it. I've listened to half of it, and I couldn't get into it. I like the idea of how the Second Doctor's portrayed as the baddie, as like this bumbly old like captain, which fits like the Dad's Army feel to it. I like the master music within it because it's very Delgado-esque.
Oh, it really is.
Within it.
But I think it's got a good cliffhanger to part one.
Yeah, I'd give it that.
Yeah,
I'd give it that. But that's all I can really remember of it. I remember the bit in like the air raid shelter with the Massive just joining in.
Yeah. But, I love like him bringing cookies for them or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I think it's all interesting. I think for the Master himself, like the stakes in his story, they're quite small. It's like quite a small plot, which I guess makes sense for him early in his life. But yeah, as it goes on for me, the second half is much weaker than the first. I did enjoy the first half, actually. And seeing the Second Doctor in that role is great. it sort of is a Dad's Army tribute, but it takes itself much more seriously. Like I think they were originally planning to go for more of a comedy with this, but realised
We've got Bill Murphy in there, and he's renowned for like comedy from George and Mildred, and I think he was in Last of a Summer Wine as well.
Yeah, but I think they take it much more seriously than you'd expect, despite the Dad's Army references on the cover. But yeah, it all falls apart for me, and it's Simon Guerrier, but funnily enough, the narration doesn't seem to work. It drags on in like there's this huge battle, and you've got a lot of narration from Annika Wheels, but it just drags a lot of the time. And like I feel it almost feels like just sound effects would have been good enough for this. So I feel like that final battle in the second 2 episodes just really does drag.
It feels quite clunky.
It takes far too. Yeah, it's just very clunky. Like you have these scenes where they're doing stuff, but it's almost like because the narration takes so long to describe it, like way longer than it would actually happen.
You've heard the sound effect before the narrations hit that point.
Yeah. Like it just takes you out of it in that sense. It's something that works in an audio novel with the Scourge of the Cybermen. But when it comes to this style of story, the early adventures, it just doesn't quite go as well for me. But yeah, some interesting ideas. Execution, especially in the second half, just falls a bit flat for me. I'd give it a
Yeah, I mean, I can't really comment on it, so I'll just take your word for it.
Yeah.
What I can speak about, and quite highly, is Daughter of the Gods. It's Doctor Who's What If it had a 5-year anniversary, and my goodness, this is a treat, because if you're familiar with Dalek Master Plan, you're going to get a kick out of it, because it's basically what if the Doctor and crew never went to Kemble and the Daleks have the Time Destructor.
Yeah, like you can see that on the cover as well, can't you?
Yeah, really. Yeah. And I love the way this story is structured, because part 1 is Second Doctor, great. You know, that fun of like him with like the remote control car, great. You can easily visualize it. And then part 2 is the First Doctor, how he's involved in, is it Obinia, the planet Odinia or something like that?
Urbinia, I think.
Obinia.
Yeah.
And then sort of part 3, you start to see how the story started to interconnect and intertwine. It's really great. The Daleks are not a strong sort of fear factor.
No.
They have a fear factor within there. Like there is a presence when they start bombarding the planet and start patrolling, and that urgency to get everyone to the spaceport is great. But it's very much Katarina's story.
Yeah, that's very true. I think it's one that works well with the 2 Doctors meeting. And I think I remember them talking about this at the time, David K. Barnes, saying when the Doctors meet, the First Doctor seems to take the senior role, and like the other Doctors look up to him, when really it should be the other way around, because they're older than him. And so this sort of works with that, and you have that nice bickering between the two when they meet. And yeah, I think that that's great stuff. And I think there's even a line where a Dalek threatens to exterminate them, and the First Doctor is like, "Oh, please do anything to spare me from his bickering."
It is a good one. I really do like this one a lot.
Yeah, I think it's nice how it splits up and then teams up the companions as well.
Like Stephen and Zoe is great. That's like a really good combo, I feel.
Yeah, I feel like that's something Big Finish can do better than a TV series ever could. Because with that, when it comes to references and stuff, like they don't utilize older companions quite as much. Like 5 Doctors, they're very much paired up with the same Doctors they were on TV. And then 2 Doctors, it kind of makes more use of it because Jamie's there. Yeah. But whereas this story, it's very much Zoe and Stephen, and then it's Jamie and Katarina. And you have that similarity there with them, the 2 futuristic companions teaming up and the 2 historical companions teaming up, and how they view the Doctor. Like you say with Katarina, it's very much giving her a chance to spend more time with the Doctor, and how she still sees him, how she's still acclimatizing to this. It's very interesting.
Yeah, I just like that, the heartfelt moments you get of the First Doctor and Katarina walking to like the university on that planet. And him just going, well, there's plenty more things I want to show you. It's really sort of heartfelt, and you're like, oh, it's not going to end well, is it?
No, and then the second Doctor gets some very heartfelt moments towards the end as well, when things are falling apart a bit.
Oh yeah, because it was like the first companion death in the show, so I guess it was sort of an event what shaped the Doctor as a character. So for the Doctor to reflect on that and not how much it changed his life, but how much it meant to him in a way. I don't know.
Yeah, and like even sorry, there's just a fly.
It's all right.
Yeah, because TV at the time, it didn't really dwell on it too much, did it? It was more just, oh, we've got Katarina. She's a bit too difficult to write for. Let's just kill her off.
Yeah.
And so here we actually get to dwell on that a bit more and explore the emotions there, which is what Big Finish does best, with a lot of moments in Classic Who that maybe didn't get there. Emotional depth fully explored.
Where are we going to put it?
I'd say it's truly remarkable. How about you?
See, I'd go top tier for me.
Oh, I'll be generous.
Just because I think because it's a sheer spectacle.
Yeah.
Like I feel like it's that sort of not event listening, but I feel like it's that great little thing of, oh my god, the first two Doctors meeting together. Not to be like that cliche, typical fan going, two Doctors meet, great story. But I think that the way it's done is
adds
great.
A bit of it makes it a bit more special, doesn't it?
Definitely.
Yeah, I think it's probably going to be a lot of people's first early adventure, I imagine.
I can imagine,
just because, like similar to how at the time when we were getting into Big Finish, a lot of people said, "Oh, get Light at the end," because that's got all the Doctors in, and then you can decide which ones you want to listen to more from there. I can see like people who want to get into the early adventures or even Companion Chronicles as well and have this part narration feel might be directed towards Daughter of the Gods, or just naturally feel a pull towards Daughter of the Gods for that spectacle.
Definitely so.
Yeah.
Another Dalek adventure, or is it with After the Daleks? So this is very much the Dalek Invasion of Earth part 7 to 10, really.
Yeah. It picks up right where that leaves off.
With Susan dropping the TARDIS key and off they go. Dick and Susan trying to make a new life and rebuild the Earth. So what do you make of this adventure?
I mean, part 1's brilliant, isn't it? Like similar
and it's for free. You can get it for free as well.
Yeah, you can as well. The newsletter. But yeah, it's got so much atmosphere. You're setting up the idea of, the world is catching its breath after the invasion and working out what to do next. You have this interesting character of Marcus Bray and what he's willing to do to survive in this new world. And then, it introduces all the plot elements very well. And it's got so much atmosphere to it. And I love Dalek Invasion of Earth. I love the world of that story. I love the post-apocalyptic settings. And so this, you think, would be my streak. But after that first episode, it does gradually start to drift off a bit more. It can't quite decide where its focus wants to be. It feels a bit more messy. So sadly, it isn't as great. I'd either go great jumping Gobstoppers or
Yeah, I'm very much in agreement with you with this. I think that it's a story what averts your expectation, because you think that it's Susan going up against like a lone Dalek, and they're good stories, lone Dalek adventures, aren't they? But the Daleks are only in episode 1 and then in like as a computer, so it's very unconventional Dalek sort of stuff. It's a story, like you say, can't decide its focus, whether it wants to be focusing on Susan's sort of political campaign or it wants to focus on the not on the like the slime. Which ties in well, but I just don't think it has enough to sustain that story, really. They just don't seem to knit together. It feels much like Colony of Fear, actually. It's like two ideas what just don't seem to knit together to make a cohesive adventure.
Yeah, and it's like, it's not necessarily ideas clashing that's the problem. It's how they're worked in together, how they're written, how the scenes are structured. like David and another character in the final part just sort of get shoved to the side, really, on this pointless side quest, which we know is pointless. But that's what they're just there to get them out of the way, really, not achieving anything as such. And so, yeah. And they get like the villain of the story is defeated about halfway through the final episode, but then comes back still to be defeated again. And you think, what was the point in that? Like, you've already won it. And it is just sort of like to try and tie those two plots together again, but for no.
It just becomes predictable at that point.
Yeah, mad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it all falls apart, especially in the final part for me, is where I think it loses it a bit. But does it. Very good first part. I'll still stick by that. And I mean, the middle two do have their moments. So yeah, I think I'll leave it up to you between the middle two for me.
I think it's got to be just like. I like the world building, and it's just a shame that the story loses that. Like the idea of like the Robomen rehabilitation, lovely idea. It wraps the idea up with slime, but I didn't feel satisfied. I wanted more from that plot point, really.
Yeah, that's very true.
I think there was much more of the world we could have explored without going too deep into all the other stuff it tried to do. Like the political stuff's fine because obviously Susan has to come out victor within it. But it just seems a bit of a messy thing. I think there's much more richness in the world what could have been explored for me.
Yeah, that's very true. And so now here we are, the final
one.
Secrets of Detsen, a story which it's a slow burner, isn't it?
Definitely is.
You never feel bored by it. I think the first two parts, there's not really much plot going on. It is just sort of characters sat around campfires talking, exploring.
Good world building, I'd say, as well.
Yeah. I think I love the Doctor, the first Doctor just philosophizing, and sort of we get those ties to the Pertwee era with his mentor and looking back and how Gallifrey sort of has a similar religion, how everything is connected. It's sort of connecting Buddhism with science in a way, and how that all works. It's just brilliant moments like that. Dodo is great here. Lauren Cornelius does a brilliant.
We're not simping, I swear.
She has her very sweet moments as well. I think this is probably my favorite, not Dodo's story, and that probably might be actually, because a lot of the ones on TV aren't anything amazing, but my favorite as Dodo has ever been portrayed, really. I think she's very good here and has just some very sweet moments, really, like singing to the Yeti and stuff. It's nice having this. It's a pure historical, but there's an undertone, isn't there? Because we know what's to come, and I do like how that's worked into it. And Stephen
doesn't feel shoehorned as well, does it?
No, it doesn't either. I suppose it's because we know that this story existed anyway. Because obviously, Blondell Snowmen does reference the fact that the Doctor's been to Detsen before. They had some trouble. So, yeah, I think that works out very nicely, really. It's a very wholesome story. I do think it loses itself a bit in the second half with the bandits attack and stuff. I also feel like we've praised narration a lot. I feel like this is one where it isn't used as well as it could be.
I think part one, it utilizes it well.
Yeah.
For me.
I feel like in part 3 and 4, there's quite a couple of fight scenes where there's no narration at all. It is just characters doing the usual grunts and fighting.
Oh, yeah. Stephen, definitely.
And then suddenly either someone's knocked out or something, you're never quite sure what's going on. And you think, this is the perfect time to just cut them with a bit of narration, say, Stephen grabbed the arm of the attacker and whisked him round, or so. Just give me a bit more than like no narration at all and just characters after saying, "What did you do?"
Oh man, carry on.
Which character was I doing an impression of there?
I don't know. Was it Ardiano or
no, not
Pima?
Who's Stephen's love interest?
Oh, is it Pima?
Yeah, Pima. That's it. That's who I was sort of going for.
Okay, that's another little good point. Stephen, it sort of lays down the foundations for the Savages, with Stephen thinking, "Is it time to leave the Doctor's world behind?" Which I think is a lovely thing. Even with Dodo, like the War Machines, we all know that Dodo's got one of the famous companion exits. I say that sarcastically.
Infamous, perhaps.
Infamous, yeah. So it sort of knits that together to go, okay, so there was a plot point there where it links.
And it links in well with the story and how it's about this pilgrimage and stuff, and how, you know, not everyone is born to travel forever. Like, a lot of people will settle down eventually, no matter how much they explore. And that ties into Odiana's inner conflict as well. So it's very well done how that all works out. And thematically, it's great stuff.
I mean, I think going back to Dodo, because this is a big story for Dodo, because it's, you know, like we've all praised Big Finish 2021 for being like the year of Big Finish and just how great it is. You know, we're all focused on Christopher Eccleston, Dalek Universe. But if we go under the surface level, we're getting areas of Doctor Who what Big Finish haven't touched, you know, like Series 7 and Season 11. Season 7, Season 11, and this is one of those examples where we're getting that with Dodo. And I think Lauren Cornelius, because I watched the arc in preparation for this early adventure in a way, and it even does reference that in the part 1 with like, oh, you're not going to be another liability, i.e. like the arc or whatever, with like the cold or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
So I feel like Lauren Cornelius really gets that sort of gun-ho, sort of strong, inquisitive nature of Dodo, how she just plows right into it, like that whole wonder of just seeing I'm going to try and be fancy and go, the Metakanu, the Yeti story.
And there's a great brother-sisterly dynamic with Stephen and Dodo as well, isn't there?
Yeah,
I think
definitely.
that's the same with Vicky, but it's even stronger here. It's like the more annoying little sister, whereas with Vicky, because she was the experienced traveller then, it's almost like she was the older sister at the same time as being the younger sister. But with Dodo, it's like definitely younger sister vibes throughout.
Yeah, you can definitely see that Dodo's sort of a liability to Stephen in a way in some bits.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that it's a wonderfully rich character story. The story isn't the strongest, but you go for the character moments, I think.
Yeah.
And just the world. Like part 1 is just getting to know this world and the characters, and then part 2 is very much the exploration of Det Sen as a monastery.
Yeah, I love those scenes where they're just in the monastery enjoying the feast and moments like that. And the idea of just Dodo sat there being so enthralled by it while the Doctor's having this conversation, and he's just like, Dodo? So, what? Who was that? I'm simping, but...
Yeah. I mean, we all can. Hot Dodo's great.
Brilliant. Hot Dodo now. Dodo's my favourite first Doctor companion, thanks to this.
I mean, especially after like the little sing-song.
Yeah, but...
The little sing-song, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, space herpes, why not? There we go.
You've got to explain that reference. You can't just drop that on the stream.
I mean, if you've if you've read the book Who Killed Kennedy, it explores Dodo as a character, and Dodo gets quite a...
It's a rough time for her.
Yeah, it's a rough time, but yeah. But that's what I need to say.
That might be, isn't that more of an urban myth, though? Like, it's not actually referenced in the story.
I think she has a horrible death.
Yeah. I think it's similar to a certain taxi experience in Damaged Goods, where it's more of a myth where like people say, oh, the scene actually happens, like the memory cheats a bit, but actually it's subtly referenced.
I mean, it is there.
Yeah.
It is there in the book, but
yeah, certainly not in the audio.
Yeah, certainly not in Det Sen, because it's Buddhism and enlightenment. Yeah, I think that for me, I want to revisit this in December. I think this and The Grey Man on the Mountain, perfect December listen, because I think it's set around Christmas time, because there's mention of Buddhist belief about Christmas. Because I think
I think it's their 10th of... Oh no, it's not, because it's in their calendar, isn't it?
Yeah.
10th day of the 11th month, but that's not quite the same as obviously our calendar. But yeah, certainly they do reference how Aldous is around Christmas and New Year time.
Yeah, so I definitely can see myself, like we said at the start, early adventures, winter, cozy night, hot chocolate. This is a hot chocolate winter's night audio for me. Definitely
Yeah,
do love it.
I'm excited to revisit, and I'm excited for more Dodo and
Oh, yeah, okay. Oh, yeah.
maybe Stephen as well. It depends what direction they go with it, because certainly they're doing First Doctor and Dodo on their own, aren't they?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I wouldn't mind getting more Stephen and Dodo adventures too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely down for that. Definitely down for more Stephen and Dodo stories because, again, it's exploring an area of Doctor Who Big Finish haven't touched. So I'm all for it, really.
Yeah, I'm like, season 7 as well, and I think season 12 too. Now with
Yeah,
Sarah Rika
and War Doctor Begins as well.
Yeah, we're filling in those gaps again, aren't we?
Yeah, which is always satisfying.
Yeah. So the final placement on the tier list.
Oh, I'm torn.
Oh, what are you torn between?
Great Jumping Godstoppers, and That's Truly Remarkable.
I want to go Truly Remarkable. I want to be nice.
Yeah, I'd be nice because of Dodo.
Yeah, because Dodo.
We simpot Dodo.
Oh dear.
We respect the women, but Dodo especially.
Yeah. I also like how it involves the Yeti in the story.
Yeah, it plays with that, and it sort of reminds me a bit like Marco Polo in a way. How the TARDIS crew get sort of sucked up into like a little journey, really.
Yeah, I mean, they even say they're on the roof of the world again, don't they?
Yeah, which is nice.
There you go.
So that is the early adventures tier list. Quite an interesting tier list, actually. It was interesting when we got to like the first 3 series, how sort of lower half the early adventures is, despite us going, it's a really good range, check it out. But you can see where the strengths lie within this range on this tier list.
Yeah. I mean, it's mad looking at series 3, how that's both right at the bottom and right at the top.
It's polar opposites, isn't it? Really, it is. It just shows.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, you've still got to experience series 3 for yourself, so
maybe
the
bottom half of it. You're certainly encouraging me there with those 2 rankings.
Yeah, I mean, it would be interesting to revisit, see what you think. Because I mean, I think our opinions are fairly similar. We're on the same page at least with most of these, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing that's really been drastically different. I think a lot of our choices have more been between like 2 that are next to each other, isn't it? Like sometimes you'll feel it's Truly Remarkable, and I'll feel look at the quality of that one, Doctor, and then other times it'll be the other way round. But there's never been like one where you're like, oh, I love this. This is top spot, and I'm like, it's more of a for me.
Yeah,
yeah.
But
like, there's no drastic differences in our opinions, just like little differences. But yeah, I think look at that does look pretty good overall.
Yeah, it's pretty strong, I'd say.
Yeah,
especially That's Truly Remarkable. Very, very strong set of stories.
Yeah, I think I'll tweet that tier list out on Twitter if anyone wants to go fill their own in,
and I'll put it in the description as well, so people can check it out. So I'll stop sharing that. And there we go. Let's have a quick look at the chat before we say good night. And then that'll be
it. Doesn't seem to have popped off too much, actually.
No,
I think most people. We've still got a good amount watching now, so.
That's okay. So if you've got any final questions before we say good night and farewell for this week, then pop them in the chat.
Viewers' time was already gone, but nevertheless, goodbye.
Good night. Goodbye.
Yeah.
I actually really like The Fifth Traveller. Oh, that's a bit of a shocker. Stephen Wright, now the Second Doctor is having his own range of forecast audios. What would you want to see the Second Doctor go up against, the Sontarans or the Celestial Toymaker, or is there any villain you want to see?
I'd be down. I mean, we said it earlier. Ice Warriors.
Ice
Warriors.
I'd quite like. I'd quite like to see a Zoe Dalek story, but then I'd quite like as well a Yeti story. Yeti and Zoe.
I like Lost Stories. The what's it? Laird and Crewman.
Yeah, that would be a good one.
Done.
Get that in there. Get that done.
Yeah. As for the second Doctor Adventures, because set after the War Games, we know now with how they've explored that a bit in Colony of Fear that the Doctor's memory's wiped there. So that opens up the options a bit more for the monsters he can meet. You can meet something like Autons or something. I'm not sure I'd want him to.
No, I wouldn't want
but
that.
The option's there for a monster that he doesn't meet until later, but now can because he won't remember them.
I feel like maybe like a new series monster would fit Troughton quite well. Like the Absorbaloff, I think that would be quite fun because they're quite comedy monsters, really.
Maybe Vashton Rada.
Yeah, that would be quite good for like a base under siege. Yeah, that could work for like a Wreck of the World type story.
Not a monster, but he can easily meet River Song then and not worry about it.
Yeah, that is true because I think he's the only Doctor who hasn't met her.
Yeah. Then again, River maybe wouldn't know about the memory loss, so might have to wipe his memory anyway. Memory loss and a memory loss, but who knows?
Double Swiss cheese.
That'd be interesting, actually, because obviously she's got his diary. She knows about the events in his life. She'd think, wait, where's Jamie or Zoe? And he'd be like, oh, I left them behind ages ago. They got their memories wiped. She's like, well, hold on it. She can be like from a fan perspective, like, well, how on earth do you know about that? And he'd be like, well, it's season 2, season 6B, my dear. But I think that could be an interesting way to explore that. Who knows?
How to get out of print Big Finish stories cheap? I'd just say eBay or Facebook Marketplace is a good place to look.
Yeah, I think it depends. Especially now with the amount of them going out of print, a lot of them aren't as scarce anymore. When it was 1 to 50, a lot of those were like gold dust, weren't they? As soon as it went out of print, people were selling it for much higher. But now that Big Finish is so much going out, it's just hard to keep track of. Like sometimes we don't even realize what's gone, and so
we're like Domain of the Void. I didn't even know that was gone.
Yeah, and so a lot of releases like that just they won't be too high priced.
Tom Garb. I listened to the Home Guard and the setups seemed interesting, but then by the end, I'm thinking, why?
Yeah, it's sort of how I felt as well.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah. I'm just not struck on the James Drufus stuff anyway. Even before the whole thing, like I never saw the hype with his master. Even in Destination Wars, I just didn't like it. Never been a fan.
I think he's all right as master, but I'm not sad that we're not getting him again.
No, give me Milo Parker.
Yeah, and the performance was fine. Nothing to write home about, but also, all his in quotation marks opinions, just hate speech. Really, I think it's much more important to not promote the actor there than it is. To say, oh, what about this interesting story though?
Yeah, I mean, I've never been a fan of like the Master meeting Doctors prior to 3, to be honest. Just mainly my opinion, but there we go.
Yeah, I can understand that.
I think that's all the chat. I think that's all us wrapped up for tonight. So yeah, this has been a fun impromptu stream talking about the early adventures.
Yeah.
Thank you once again for making the tier list and joining me this evening, Luke.
Yeah, that's okay. It's one that I made quite a while ago, actually, isn't it? Because we knew we were going to do this at some point after this series to come out. I was just waiting for it to come out. But
let's listen to it.
It's been fun to finally dive in and revisit and remember a lot of these old stories. But even I say, not revisit and actually listen, but revisit and just remember them and get those similar feelings to what I had at the time of listening flowing again.
It almost sort of makes you want to revisit the list after doing this. I was like, I want to revisit that story now.
Yeah, I think you had that feeling with Wreck of the World, didn't you?
Yeah, definitely want to give that one a go now.
Yeah, which one would I? I mean, Forsaken again, even though that's one I did rate quite highly. That's one that has certainly captured my attention again. Maybe want to revisit. Night Witches as well, actually, because that's one I think we ranked it quite highly, but I was the more negative one there, and I can't remember why I was negative because it's been so long.
I just remember loving it.
Yeah, I remember liking it, but yeah, not rating it as highly. So that'd be an interesting one to revisit, see if my opinions change there.
Yeah, be a good one. Maybe we can revisit some of these tier lists and like re-listen to some of the stories and go, do we agree with that place, or were we too kind, were we too harsh?
Yeah,
that'd be a fun little roundup.
Yeah, could be a fun little stream in itself, revisiting old tier lists.
Yeah, I like say like December, we just do like a little special roundup of like the year, and just sort of reflect. I guess that'll be quite a nice little thing to do.
Yeah, because I mean, certainly we're going to go back to the 10th Doctor one after Dalek Universe 3 is out, so we can put those stories in there. So if we've listened to anything, we can also like have a bit of a discussion of has anything changed here, really.
Yeah, I think that'll be a good little one to do, really. And obviously, as more stories come out in ranges, we'll update the tier list, and that'll be a good little way of doing it, I guess.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get a new early adventures announcement soon, maybe.
Fingers crossed, fingers crossed. So I think that's us done for tonight, isn't it?
Yeah. What's going to be next week? Either Philip or Cybermen?
What do you fancy? What do you fancy?
It depends how much of a slog God of Phantoms is to get through.
Yeah. Probably Cybermen, probably the best bet then, just to mentally prepare ourselves.
Yeah, mate. We'll see.
We'll see. We'll have a little chat off air and we'll decide.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone, for joining us.
Yeah, thank you very much for joining us this evening on this little impromptu live stream. And we'll see you hopefully when's the next one? Well, we'll decide that. And I'll put it on Twitter and
it'll either be a Friday, Saturday, or a Sunday. I think we're at least reliable in that aspect. We've got 3 out of 7 days to choose from.
So clear your diary for one of those days. We'll be back.
Yeah.
For more shenanigans. So thank you everyone for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.